Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
In the beautiful mountains of central British Columbia. Varla Ventura is here, and you know we love it when she is here for our cryptid world. We have no schedule. We don't even know what the hell we're talking about tonight. But I do know one thing. It will be one hell of a good show. Hey, look who it is. Mennonite Abe winning his first ever gold medal position tonight in the chat room roll calls. Silver medal goes to Race Fan. The bronze medal to Simon, a.k.a. Dogface Boy in Australia. He is our resident thylacine. And B, how are you? Looking great tonight. And who else is in our chat room so far? Nightmare, good to see you. And Grand Paul Holland, thanks for coming on in. Who else we got here? Skraling, welcome to SOR chat. Thank you for joining us. Stunning Samantha, nice to have you here. As we continue on with roll call, the gorgeous Dirt Road, Logan L, Mama Susan, nice to have you here. Andrew, hope your trucking is easy tonight. Mark Longoria, good to see you. And, there is the stunning Wild Ascension from the mothership. Hello, how are you? All right, Wes H, nice to have you back. And let's see here. Moon Freedom is here. Moon Freedom will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Todd Purdon, Enzo. What's happening, guys? John Swan, good to see you. Gorgeous Jenny, thanks for coming on in. As we continue on with our roll call here. Luscious Jules, Awesome Ann Palmer, good to see you both. Parkway, nice to have you back. And there's the gorgeous and talented Kira. She'll be signing autographs in Vegas in 3 weeks' time. And to the right of the studio, Cloudy with a chance of UFOs. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. The gorgeous Kathy Evans. Nice to see you again. Who else is here? Dogface Boy, thank you so much for kicking off the Super Chat tonight. The Super Chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you so much for opening it up tonight. Doc from Wyoming, nice to have you here. Aiden, thank you for dropping on in. And who else is joining us? Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived. Glenn John McEnroe, nice to have you here. The pride of Wimbledon. And who else is joining us? Nicola, Steve Wolf, Digger Dog, good to see you all here. Go 66, thanks for dropping in. Terry Brown, nice to have you back. And there's Mr. Lurks a lot. Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, Peppa H, nice to see you guys. And there's our man Jose, thank you for joining us. Magnus, Donna Spencer, looking lovely tonight. Thank you for coming on in. And who else do we have here? Let's see. Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio. Good to have you here. Be kind. Thank you for joining us. And who else is here? Sweet Donna C. from New Mexico. There she is. Wave to her. She always waves back. Robert Garcia, thank you for joining us. Ray Finn, how you doing, man? Props, good to see you. Nucker, thanks for coming on in. And, well, let's start the radio side here while we're waiting. We don't want to miss out on that, because that would suck. J.G. Hartwell, good to see you, man. And the Red Deer Rebel herself, DM, thank you for joining us. Penman. And Ray Bartell, welcome to SOR chat. Keith Kerrigan, welcome to SOR Chat. Thank you for joining us. And thank you to all the veterans out there who have tuned us in. And, you always have a safe home here in our chat room. So thank you very much for your service and duty. Thank you to all the regulars who come in. If you're brand new here, do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell. We are here 7 days a week. You can do your shopping at the Spaced Out Radio website. We got some really nice swag in there right now. Boom! Gorgeous Bama. How are you? Thank you for joining us. And we're almost good to go here. We got about 30 seconds here. VarlaVentura.net is Varla's website. And hold on. There we go. Now we're set up. Let's do this thing, people. Gorgeous Avi May, how are you? And it's that time once again, my friends. Get your horns up. Let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do us the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading Shirky Poo's Newswire, and checking out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Come get your chive on today and, make the world 10% happier while you're doing it. Visit Chive Charities today. We got a great night for you. Yeah, we do. Varla Ventura, the queen of the cryptids, is back for our Cryptid World, her monthly segment, and she's 92% going to Vegas for our SOR fan party, April 22nd to 24th, and then she will be back at the end of April to discuss it all and her antics if she arrives. Also, in hour 3, we got a great story from the Swamp Dweller. Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio is here to give us another cryptid story. We got the Thought of the Dave and Dave 101, Shirky Poo's News. Yeah, busy night of programming for you tonight. Yep, Varla Ventura comes in with our Cryptid World. She is here once a month. She is a regular guest here, contributing to the darker side of the paranormal, supernatural, and the cryptid world. You can find all of her books at varlaventura.net or at any major bookstore. Yep, she is ready to partay tonight with us and get into the monster talk. Varla Ventura, it is always a pleasure to have you here on Spaced Out Radio. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, it's always a pleasure to be here. I'm doing great. Hi, Dave. Hello, listeners. Hello, Spaced Out Radio heads. Oh, like that.
I got your ball cap on.
I see that. I appreciate that. And I salute you with my
For those about to rock, we salute you. Yes. Yes, we do. It's going to be a fun night.
Welcome to the night.
Welcome to the night. You know what? It is always a fun time to have you here because, you are one of the best when it comes to talking about monsters and legends and folklore around here. We always have new listeners tuning us in. This is a lifelong journey for you that you are still on. You've been on it since you were a child, and you continue to push the limits to the cryptid and supernatural world. Why do you love your job so much?
Oh, I just, yes, I've loved the strange since I was wee high to a grasshopper. I definitely was raised in an unconventional environment. I've learned that The older I get, the more I realize that. I was raised in an environment full of the occult and unusual things, a lot of art, a lot of astrology, tarot. Those were things I was exposed to. My mother is a witch, and just kind of exposed to things at a very young age, herbology, and just a lot of kind of different ways of thinking. So lucky me, I kind of grew up and spending a lot of time in cemeteries and learning about kind of an alternative history. So for me, those things were very comforting, I think, as I got older. And, it wasn't, just like anyone, as you get older, you sort of start understanding that people have different viewpoints and different ways of life. And you come to understand that you kind of find your people eventually, like people that like the same kind of weird things that you do. And once you bounce around and do a menagerie of different strange jobs that pay next to nothing, then you eventually discover that, well, if I'm going to make next to nothing, I might as well do something that I love. And so I came to be a writer. And that's, one day I was talking to a friend at like a, cocktail party or something, spouting off bizarre, freaky facts. And the person said, that I had just started like as an editorial assistant at a book publisher, the absolute lowest paid thing next to an unpaid internship. And they said, well, you should pitch that as a book idea. You just all those freaky things that you say. And I did, and they went for it. And that was my first book. And then, which was, took a lot of hand holding, and then it was pretty successful. And so I did another book, and then another book, and another book, and another book. And now, here we are kind of writing about cryptids and freaky things, and mermaids and banshees and werewolves and vampires and paranormal things. But I've had a lot of experiences, and I love people who like to talk about experiences. And I'm not afraid of the things that go bump in the night, I guess. So
very cool.
We are.
Very cool. I like Too Much Disclosure's comment in the chat room here. It is refreshing to have a nice looking guest on. Guys that are borderline Sasquatch looking have been hogging the SOR airwaves. Nothing wrong with it.
Aw. You don't like the beardos? Come on, man. Respect to the beardos.
Oh, my goodness. I don't get it. Like here I thought, that I, trying to just bring up the love and light in life here. And, I guess too much Sasquatch.
You got a face for radio. Too many guests with a face for radio. They don't mean you, Dave.
Oh, yes,
Everybody loves you.
Yes, they do. But that's okay. I'm okay with that. I got a voice for print as well, and I'm very accepting of that. Very accepting of that. But thank you so much for the good laugh, and I do appreciate that.
I suppose that's a compliment to me. So somewhere.
Well, maybe
back up a second here.
maybe backhanded. I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe?
But
yes,
I don't know. How do you want to take that?
Well, I've mixed feelings, It's like when you're sitting at the bar and someone comes up and compliments you, but says something mean to your friend, You kind of want to deck the guy. I told you already, I'm the bar fight girl, so we appreciate that. I know you mean well. Too much disclosure, but the Sasquatch guys. Somebody's type.
Hey, we're there. We are there. It is all good.
We're all here for it. Cheers. Thank you. Too much disclosure.
You're somebody, for people who don't know you, you're somebody who loves to deal with the darker side of the paranormal world. Like, it doesn't get enough love. And damn it, Varla Ventura is going to be the one
who here gives for it.
The publicity and the love. Why the darker side rather than what everybody else is doing?
Like all the love and light. I don't know. Somebody else can take care of the angels, I'm not opposed to the angels, but yeah, somebody else can deal with the angels. I don't know. Just not interested in it. It's boring to me. No, I'm kidding. Angels are lovely. I don't know. I find it really interesting. I mean, even ever since I was a kid, it's just one of those things I couldn't help. Like I always rooted for the villain. Always, always. You know, even in like watching Snow White as a kid, I was like, oh, come on. I wanted the witch to win. I just wanted her to win. I know I was supposed to think it was wrong, but I didn't. I really didn't inside. I was like, she's so cool. Look at what she can do. Like, look at all of her trickery. You know, her skills. What's happening?
Oh, so
Just happened?
you know what? I've been getting, I have my Skype open.
I'm turning my Skype off right now, and
Yeah.
I am not available on Skype, people.
You
Never
know what?
am.
Honestly, I have
How
been
rude.
getting hits with a lot of spam profiles and calls and everything, and it
It's the
just
beard.
drives maybe, but then that's kind of rude,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I usually don't even think about it. I usually just turn my Skype off.
Well, it's off.
Off. Yeah, it's off now. It's closed now.
It
Sorry.
is.
Sorry about that,
It is.
folks.
It is totally off now. So you were saying darker side of cryptids before. Apparently, some lady named Betty Allen who is trying to get a hold of me on Skype still.
Oh, that was you, not me. Okay.
No, it was totally me. It was totally me.
Now I feel left out. Nobody's hunting me down.
Well,
darker side way cooler than lighter side. End of story. No. Go Darth Vader.
But the light side always wins.
No, it
you
doesn't.
never win.
Wait and see. We're not at the end yet. No, let's be serious for a moment. I mean, the thing is you can't really, the world is not black and white, right? And you cannot have darkness without light. And so it's not really a war of what's dark and what's light. And it's also, to be clear, dark does not mean evil. Dark does not mean bad. Dark just means mysterious. Dark means things that are not immediately revealed to you. Dark means some withholding. Dark means a lot of wonderful things that I really appreciate. Light is light's got its nice attributes and stuff, but it's also very bright and can be a little much. So there's just a lot of things that I'm attracted to that are associated with that darkness, including witchcraft and mysteries. And I just tend to. There's just things that I've always tended to be a night owl. I tend to be more inspired at night. I find that finding out about. To me, it's just very interesting to kind of educate yourself about what that really means, like the dark side of things. I think that it gets a bad rap, just like, witchcraft gets a bad rap. Like, sure, there's like some hexing and things that can be associated with it. But really, it comes down to kind of perception, misperception, and, misconceptions about what that actually is. And when something's cloaked in darkness, it just doesn't make it automatically bad. And we just have this kind of like very black and white society, right? Where we're just like good, bad, good, evil, and I think that, people are mostly wrong about that, quite frankly, if I may be so bold.
So what you're saying is the dark side is not as dark as what it gets credit for.
Oh, well, now I'm going to get in trouble with all the dark side lovers. No, I just think it's not necessarily bad. I think that being things that are dark and that make you think and that make your pulse quicken and make you afraid can be good. That could be good for you. You can lose weight watching a horror movie. I read that recently. Just by watching a horror movie versus watching like a rom-com, you actually burn more calories. So, hey, there you go. I guess my point is that there's a lot of beneficial things to actually exploring something that isn't necessarily comfortable all the time. Or there are those of us that find great comfort in the darkness, in something that may make somebody else feel uncomfortable.
Okay. Well,
I
let
mean,
me
I'm
ask
okay
you.
with that. Like, I understand it's not for everyone. Not everybody wants to eat their lunch in a cemetery. That's fine.
True.
You can go to the, you can go to Burger King.
Or
I'll
the
hang.
morgue. One of
Yeah.
the two.
You can go to
Or the
North.
morgue. I want to ask you
Too
this
cold
because
in there, Dave.
whatever. I'm Canadian. You live in Minnesota. You should be able to handle the cold.
Yeah, that's why I go to the cemetery.
Right. Right. What scares you?
Someone I love committing suicide. Um,
Well, obviously, I was hoping for something not
sorry.
as morbid.
Whoa, didn't mean to go there. That's deep. Like cryptid wise? Do you want to let's keep it a little
Monster
light.
wise, cryptid wise, paranormal wise, supernatural.
So sorry. That was like a really weird emotional answer. Cryptid wise, there's definitely some scary creatures. Some of the ones that are like, I think some of the changeling stories are pretty scary. These kind of like fairy switches where they come in, and it's not always even children that get swapped out or babies. A lot of the stories that are told and retold are about babies that are swapped out. So like a fairy baby will be left in place of a human baby. But there's a lot of stories about like adults or kind of like older children that will happen to as well. So those are pretty scary because there's just a lot of layers to those stories. So there's questions about, judgments of groups of people, about people who are kind of like don't quite fit into society. So it brings like some kind of like crazy science fiction stuff up when you're reading these old folk tales. There's that element of it. The idea of something coming from another kind of world and assimilating into our world. And then what are they doing here? And why is that happening? What is happening to that person that was part of our family, and now what are they doing in the other world? Are they okay? So those kind of stories can be really terrifying. I think we've talked a little bit about how they kind of overlap a lot with some of the UFO abduction stories. There's a lot of similarities of like a person suddenly kind of just finding themselves somewhere not super far from home, but like not somewhere they remember being, wandering along a road, sometimes in tattered clothing or naked, just like displaced with a displacement of time. So a lot of those, especially I'd say some of the stories that were recorded from like fairy and folk tales from like the British Isles from around, the 1700s. There's some pretty scary stuff in there about changelings. So those are pretty scary. I would say banshees are pretty scary because those are like, kind of a portent of death. And there's a couple castles that I visited in Ireland a couple of years ago that are, I guess that would be 3 years ago, that have some banshees associated with them, and stories that are kind of passed down where people are kind of like, have seen these floating ghost-like things that are pretty terrifying, hovering heads, disembodied kind of heads floating down the halls, and kind of like recurring creatures that are associated with that castle in particular, that are supposed to, that they call a banshee, that are usually something that people call, portent of death. So if you see it or hear it, that's a really, really bad sign that someone that is going to get sick and die, or just get really sick. So, yeah, pretty.
That's not very nice.
That's going to ruin your vacation.
That is just going to ruin a vacation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There.
And then there's these like Irish vampires, which I cannot remember the name of. But they're really freaky. Like they're like the freakiest vampires because they basically like float in. And what's kind of interesting about a lot of the Irish folklore, like some of those kind of like vampires and banshees and things like that, like the world of ghosts and fairies tend to kind of overlap. Like there's at least from like my viewpoint of how I kind of grew up, like I think I compartmentalize them a little bit separately. As like, well, here you have ghosts and here you have vampires and here you have fairies, and they're all kind of like in a different world. And in a lot of the sort of mythology, they're really kind of in the same sort of like other world. There's just like this other world where other creatures dwell. And this Irish vampire, which again, like I've totally spaced the name, it's basically this kind of like terrifying like blood, but it's not even like a blood sucking ghost. It's more of like a life sucking ghost that comes around, and it's associated with certain places, and certain castles in particular have this kind of vampire associated with it, and it will come in and it will like just drain the life out of you. So that's a pretty scary one, because, you know, I don't know about you, but most of my paranormal encounters have been not super life-threatening. So it's kind of disconcerting when you wake up and you're like, oh, this was a lovely stay in this castle, and I'll go down to the gift shop and I'll buy this little book. And then you're kind of, you know, on the plane ride home, you're like, oh, there's a life-sucking vampire there, and I just stayed there with my child. Oh, well, we dodged a bullet there. Maybe we won't, you know, maybe next time we'll stay down the road or whatever. So those are some.
We got 3 minutes left before we have to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Varla Ventura is our guest. A lot of what you hear, what you study is legend. And, you know, for a lot of us out there, we tend to think, geez, is a lot of this real? Is a lot of it, or is it a lot of it just fantastical stories that have been carried over century to century, and we just want to believe because it's fun? You know, I'm curious for you, how much do you actually believe?
Well, I believe all of it, because my, also, who am I kidding? I'm obviously going to stay somewhere that has a legend of a life-sucking vampire ghost again, of course. I believe all of it, because to me, when I look back at it, I think like I look back, and I'm not a person that dismisses like indigenous stories, whether they're indigenous to Ireland or they're indigenous to the North America or Central America. I think that we spend a lot of time just calling things like myths and stories, but I think in all of those stories, there's a root in truth. And I also believe that storytelling has a really important purpose in our society. And Ireland in particular is known for storytelling. And each time a story is told, a little bit is added, a little bit is embellished. But nonetheless, a lot of these stories, like about these creatures, they're told and they're retold, but they have certain, like the characteristics are similar. They're the same, really. There's a greater definition of what this creature is, and there's a greater understanding of what it is. Like it's defined, right? Like this is this, and you know, this is a Pooka, this is a changeling. And so I don't just dismiss these things as legend. I believe that people have seen these and they have eventually called them a specific name. I think they're harder to see and harder to find. And I think that people also blow things off. And I think people are in a hurry all the time looking at their phones, and they just kind of dismiss things. But I'm not a person that dismisses, you know, stories children tell me. And I'm not a person that dismisses indigenous beliefs as something that, you know, is just a made up story by, you know, some person that, you know, was a once upon a time. I have a very different view of time than what they tell us in the history books. I don't think it's that different. I think it's just like a, you know, more of a wider view that these things can all exist. And that comes from being told these stories directly, as I'm sure you've experienced yourself, Dave, and experiencing those stories directly. And that will really shift your viewpoint fast. And once you start having those experiences and being told those things directly, it starts to shift your viewpoint, and it starts to open your mind in a way that it's pretty hard to dismiss things.
Varla Ventura, VarlaVentura.net is her website. You can find all her books there at any major bookstore. for some reason, she loves it when I say varlaventura.net.
But that's
.net. Space Out Radio, second half hour with Varla comes in right after this. Let's see what that lady on Skype wants.
oh yeah, maybe it's something good.
Hello? Hello? Oh, she hung up. Well, you're not going to get a date that way. All right. Hi,
She
Yay.
wants to go to the bar with you. She wants to go to Vegas. Maybe she's like really cool. Maybe she's like, hey, do this TV show for me.
Hi, Tony Ditata. Welcome to SOR Chat for the first time. Oob to Joe's Main. You've got aliens. Stevie Franchise. Nice to see you. Kevin. Nice to have you back. And who else came in here? I think we're good. Oh, you're getting serious. You're putting the glasses on. Why'd you mute yourself?
Because you were saying names and I was like talking, blabbering, and I was like, oh, I'm talking over him while he's doing official radio stuff.
I was doing official radio stuff. Hey, Varla, shut the hell up. I'm doing official radio stuff.
Okay, it's called, I wanted to look up what the Irish vampire was, and I usually have this book of Irish folklore next to me at all times. Every time I do your show, I always have this book next to me. And then now, oh, there it is. Hold on.
Nice.
Nope, that's not it.
That's not it.
No, damn it.
That's not it.
Ill prepared. Oh, well. And it's dark in here because I didn't want to do the lighting. So, Abertalk, is that what it is?
Eddie Murphy.
I don't know. That doesn't sound right, but the Derek Do, that sounds better. That sounds a lot. I'm going with that.
AC Man, good to have you here. The Dirk Dude.
Darag Dua. Ooh, I like that. It has a pronunciation. Yeah. The Darag Du. Darag Dua. The Darag Dua. Yeah, I like that one. Down by Waterford, the red bloodsucker. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Mennonite Abe, Varla Ventura pre-show is 92% sure that she is coming to Las Vegas.
I mean, is this going to get people to come to Vegas if I go 98? Ooh, Blood and Whiskey. Ooh. Like, that sounds like it should be at least a song title, if not. You know what I mean? Like, look, someone said Irish vampire's breath, World Bigfoot Radio. Irish vampire's breath smells like blood and whiskey. That should be a song. Or, I mean, that's a beautiful statement.
Varla Ventura, by the way, Knucker, does not eat breakfast for dinner.
I don't eat breakfast. Yeah! I brunch. I'm a bruncher. Like, what's our schedule in Vegas? I mean, we're going to stay up all night and sleep half the day, right? Because then I can get...
That is Slaughter's song, Up All Night, Sleep All Day.
I'm a really bad gambler.
Good.
Okay. And I want to go to the Paranormal Museum.
You can go.
Okay.
Hi, gorgeous Jessica McCreary. Jeremy Jones looking gorgeous tonight. There is the fedora-wearing John Hudson.
That's not true. I would get along fine with Stormy. I agree with a lot of the things she said, actually. I agree with all that gatekeeper bullshit. I listened to a little bit of that show last night, or this morning I listened to a little bit of it. I think I totally agree with the I don't know if we'd be besties, but I agree with a lot of the gatekeeper stuff she's had to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we should see, but I personally have had to deal with that myself. It's totally an old boys club. No offense to you, Dave, but you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I know. Mennonite Abe, Varla does not eat breakfast for dinner.
Because I don't eat breakfast.
Exactly.
I mean, if I eat breakfast for dinner, it's because I just got up and it's 7:00 at night, right? Like that's.
Yes. You don't have to convince me. Thank you again, by the way, Simon, with the early hat trick of super chats tonight. The super chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you so much. Lars Janssen. He
Good
wears
morning.
number 29 in your program. He's from Stockholm, Sweden. Played for IFK Tumba. There we go. I don't know if he did or not, but it just sounds good.
Cool.
Right? We got like 5 seconds. Hold on.
Oh.
Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for joining us. I want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do us the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Shout out to Bobby from Calgary, hanging on out. It is an old Smythe Division rival here between Vancouver and Calgary. The Canucks and Flames. Who's going to the playoffs? Well, not my Canucks. Not my Canucks, but I still have my Oilers. It's the Battle of Alberta between Bobby and Dave. My Oilers versus his Flames. There we go. Anyways, anytime we can get in a little hockey talk, we try to do it. Is your son's season over now, Varla?
Well, it was, and we're doing another season. We're doing
you're doing spring hockey.
Yeah, we're doing the spring goes into it's the one that, you do like a little spring and then you come back in the summer for a little
Yeah.
Spring. They call it spring, but it's also summer. But then it takes a break in the summer.
Yes, summer hockey.
Yeah.
Summer hockey in spring. Somehow that works. It just works. It's
hockey all year. Hockey now, hockey then.
Yeah.
Hockey all year long. I just made
absolutely. Good for you. Good for you. You got to learn.
It's a lot. You
got to learn Dumpin' Tom Connors, the hockey song.
Hello out there. We're on the air. Hockey night tonight. I already know it.
Oh, beautiful.
Come on. I'm a hockey mom. I know all the words.
Stompin' Tom. It's beautiful.
Try me. Try me in Vegas.
VarlaVentura.net is her website where you can find all of the books for Varla. And Varla Ventura comes in for our Cryptid World near the end of each month, hanging on out with us, talking all things supernatural and weird. Now, right before the break, you were talking about some monster vampire thing over in Europe that wants to suck the blood out of everybody.
Not everybody. Just
do it or something like that.
Yeah, look, I had to look it up because I couldn't take it anymore. And it's the Durag Dua, and it's a Irish vampire. So that's what it is.
And what's the purpose of this?
Well, I'm gonna click this link. I hate looking things up on the internet. I usually have a book by me. I mean, I don't hate looking things up on the internet, but I hate looking things up on the internet when I'm on an interview because I'm always afraid some sort of horrible pop-up ad is going to come on and then it's just going to be ridiculous. But I think we're safe because this is Irish Central. So if it's a pop-up ad, hopefully it'll be amusing. So let's see. This is, I just want to get the pronunciation. So it's a female vampire and it's called the Durag Dura is how you say it. And it's a pretty classic vampire legend. This particular one, is a beautiful woman and dies on her wedding day and basically comes back to avenge her love and, with rage. She's murdered and then she comes back and every day she's murdered on her wedding day and comes back every year on that anniversary. to avenge, and finds a victim and, drains them of their life. And yes, actually that one, she does suck their blood. So, but that's in Waterford. So that's very regional. That's very regional.
Well, that's real nice.
Oh, but there's I actually have like some mermaid stuff if we want to get into mermaids. But that's another creature that I love talking about is mermaids. So
I'm always afraid to bring up the mermaids because a couple of months ago you told me point blank that oh man, I'm tired of mermaids.
Did I? I'm back on mermaids. I'm so back on mermaids. Never listen to me. Just when I say things like that, just give me 24 hours and just assume I'm going to move on. Yeah. Just I don't remember when I say blank like statements of like I never want to do something again. Just assume within like 24 to 72 hours that I've moved on and I want to do it again. What?
Like drinking.
Like drinking. Yeah, exactly. Once the hangover has passed, you're on it again, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's get into mermaids then, if that's the road you want to take.
Let's go down that road. Well, actually, Waterford is what got me on that road. Because Waterford is, people might know Waterford, Ireland, because it's the place that makes the very refined crystal, which is beautiful. And it's kind of in the southeastern part of Ireland. And just recently, because I'm a nerd, I got my copy of Archaeology Ireland, which is a magazine I subscribe to and nerd out to. And they recently found a tile in a church in Waterford, a church, mind you, with a depiction of a mermaid. And this particular mermaid has a bifurcated tail, which for anyone who doesn't know what that means, it's the split tail. So sometimes typically mermaids are depicted with the classic mermaid tail that we all associate, right? The like kind of same tail, single tail, like a fish. But many of us have also seen where the tail is split, so it kind of looks like two legs. This is the only depiction of a mermaid anywhere in Ireland in any of these. Apparently, I didn't know this. There's like 12 different churches in Ireland with these tiles that have depictions of mermaids throughout Ireland, and all of them have the single tail. So this is the first depiction that they found. So it's the only example of the bifurcated tail, which is, the mermaid's split tail. And also the mermaids are typically, especially in churches, are holding usually they're holding like a comb and sometimes a mirror. And this was to let people know that, that it kind of like remind them of the sins of vanity and lust, because they're all very booby, right? It's like big mermaid boobs. So you have like this bifurcated tail or a big, tail, mermaid tail. Why else would you have, I'm sorry, can I just why else would you just show tits in a church, right? Like that's what is happening. So I'm just gonna put it out there. Because it's unusual, right? Even in the 1600s, or in particular in the 1600s, you've got this depiction right up there, right near the altar. And then you've got, it's a beautiful depiction of this like supernatural creature. We're getting it, doing it. And then not even, no clamshells, no covering, just right. Everything is out there. Everything God gave you, right? Just hanging out there. And beautiful hair. And the usually in all these other ones, according to this article, all these other ones, there's, the beautiful hair and then the symbols of sin and lechery and vanity and all these bad things. And so you are sitting in church, piously crossing your legs, right? And trying to like concentrate and do no harm and, have no lechery or whatever. And so, but this one, the mermaid's totally different. And, the mermaid's got it doesn't have these symbols. It's the mermaid's holding bells. but it's got a bifurcated tail. And if I need to paint a picture for those of you who are listening, the bifurcated tail is basically, the legs are spread and the mermaid is holding the bells, but the bells are kind of like, she's kind of holding her own ankles, really. So there's like this is a pretty, like, to me, it's almost more out there than holding the symbols of the mirror and the comb or whatever. So she's holding bells, which is also very unusual. So this is kind of a remarkable find. Like, all jokes aside, this is like really quite striking that this has been found in Ireland. Now, there's examples of mermaids like this in churches in France, and it's from the Renaissance era. There's examples of this in churches in France, Italy, but this is the first one found in Ireland, so it's pretty remarkable. And so they find it. It's basically very faded, and someone just happens to notice as they're kind of like restoring this part of the church. Some archaeologists come in and they sort of restore it. Someone does this beautiful drawing of it, and they find out all of this stuff, and then that leads to this article in the magazine. Some wonderful author has actually written a whole book all about these mermaids, and so I'm actually planning on going to Ireland in the summer this year for a couple of weeks. And I had no idea that there's at least a dozen of them all around Ireland in churches. So I'm thinking like mermaid tour of Ireland, right? Like, why not just go? They're marked. They're very clear. And this one's on display. I think they took it out of the church and they put it in like the local museum. So that's pretty cool. I learned a bunch of stuff about, they don't even really know why the bells are kind of like, they symbolize something else, which it said what they symbolize, but I forgot because I got really distracted by the whole, tits in church and like just the whole thing. Like my mind just went this like whole other direction with it. Like, I don't know. I understand like maybe kind of why they were doing it, but my mind just went this whole other direction with it of like, I just imagine people sitting there trying to be pious, and this symbol is up there, and I just couldn't get past that, and I just couldn't, because I've thought of the mermaid so many times as a tale, or like a tale of a warning, right? Like not to get too close to the tides, and as a warning for all of these things. But I'd never thought of it. It never occurred. I know there's a church in Cornwall where there's mermaid carvings, and there's this whole marvelous story about this, mermaid witch woman who wouldn't go to church, so everybody called her a witch and said she was a descendant of mermaids. But I just didn't know about this, and this is fascinating to me, just this whole aspect of the blending of the church when the church was really kind of taking hold, and the blending of this like very, very strong folklore that the mermaid was still instilled in the church enough, or in the people enough, as a creature that was held in such high regard that it was in the church, right up there, like as a symbol, as much as a saint would be. To me, that's fascinating, and something that I'd really like to explore more.
Well, yeah, but the churches though are filled with a lot of paranormal type of creatures.
Sure.
Gargoyles on the outside,
yes.
Angels, apparently naked mermaids.
Yeah, and I think, and especially, I don't think churches everywhere have naked mermaids, right? I think that's probably very specific to certain cultures, and Ireland in particular has a very strong tie to mermaids. There's, the mermaid, the mer god is the one who shrouds the British Isles and hides the fairies. It's his cloak that hides the fairies from our eyes. So the king of the sea, Manan MacLear, his son is the one who has that shroud. So that's all part of the mythology there. So, but I'm sure there's other places, other island nations in particular, where you're going to find mermaids in churches. But you're absolutely right. I mean, those gargoyles on, the outside of churches as protectors, like those, there are all these supernatural creatures connected, and paranormal creatures like within and without the church that are totally tied in. And it's a way to explore. I mean, that's a way in to find out what people, like the mythology of people and what their beliefs are, but also it's a way for those things to endure. Like, I think that we have this idea that the church came in and wiped stuff out, right? Because in many ways that is what happened, right? It came in and the doctrine kind of like, you think this, or we will, burn you, take all your land. I mean, that totally happened. Not saying that didn't happen, but at the same time, there are all of these, if you look at it on the flip side, like all of these things endured, right? These creatures endured, the beliefs endured, and they snuck through, right? There's all this subversion, and there's all this paranormal subversion. There you go. There's the new band name. Paranormal subversion.
That's definitely metal. Definitely metal.
It's definitely metal. Yeah.
Or EDM, one of the two. EDM or death metal. All right, VarlaVentura.net is our website. Varla Ventura is our guest. But I mean, it also goes a lot into saying that, I mean, when you have mermaids in a church, it's probably near a water community where maybe there was sightings, or it goes along with the folklore of the sailors as well. I mean, let's face it, there is superstition even within religious guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I'll tell you, like, one thing that really kind of floored me as far as like when I was researching mermaids, because I definitely was like, asking people, have you had mermaid experiences? And I think people came, once I had the book out, I had more people talking to me about things that happened to them, especially people who spent a lot of time at sea, people who lived on sailboats, fishermen. I'm that person that will go on vacation and sit next to you at the, go into the local bar and say, so is anyone, after a couple of drinks, has anyone here ever had a mermaid experience? Or, I'll ask around, and I don't care if people look at me like the total weirdo, because eventually someone will come forward and tell me a story. I don't usually ask on the first night. I'll give it a day or two.
You know what? You bring up a very good point there, though, because recently I did the same with a logging truck driver. And they're all over the forest here, obviously hauling logs, out of the forest. And I said to this guy, I said, you ever see anything strange out on those roads? And he looks at me and he's like, strange how? Like UFOs or lights in the sky or things in the forest? And I'm
all
like,
of the above.
yeah, absolutely. And he's like, all the time. And I went, are you serious? He goes, yeah. He goes, all the time we are driving along those roads, and logging truck drivers get paid by the load. So they are literally going dark to dark. And they are traveling down those roads. It doesn't matter whether it's rainy, monsoon, snow, ice, summertime. They're going down those logging roads at like 30, 45, 50 miles an hour. Because the quicker they get out, the quicker they can get back in. But that's a different story. But he was telling me in this one area where he goes, there have been light orbs seen going through the trees. Lights, in the early morning, like we're talking 3, 4 in the morning, above the trees. He's like, you're driving and all of a sudden you see something. It's almost like it's moving at the speed of your vehicle, and you look out the window, there's nothing there, but you're out of the corner of your eye, you saw something following you. He goes, it happens all the time. All the time.
Yeah. Right. So that's like, of course the loggers know, of course, but like, if you don't ask them, that's like when I used to listen to Coast to Coast, when I first started listening to Coast to Coast and Art Bell was on, and like the call-in shows, the best stories were the truck drivers, who were the ones who were listening at like 3 a.m. And I know you have those listeners right now, and they were the ones who would be like, well, I was out there, they're the ones that are on the road and they see some weird stuff in like the middle of the night, in the middle of the road, middle of the night. And it's just, that's exactly it. When you start, if you just ask, not everyone wants to tell you right away, right? Like some people aren't comfortable, but they'll say, well, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean weird? You mean like, do you mean UFOs? Do you mean strange noises? Do you mean like like what do you mean by weird? Because you see it, right?
Absolutely. But you can't misjudge what that evidence is. It might be anecdotal, and they might have been seeing things because they were too tired or too worn out from their day, but at least it's a clue into finding what you're looking for. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I mean, that's my dream, right? Is to actually phone calls are great, but how wonderful would that be to just actually be able to go around and ask people stories and spend enough time in a place to have time to kind of break down those walls, so that, I mean, you're not going to be able to spend like 3 years in every place, but enough time where you're in like a place that there's been reported sightings or whatever, to spend enough time in a place to actually be able to ask questions and get people to tell you things that have happened. Not like, I'm not an investigator and I don't claim to be an investigator, and I that's not actually an ambition of mine on any level, but I'm a story writer, and I love stories, and I absolutely love hearing people's stories, and to spend enough time in a place where people will sit down with you and tell you their stories, where they feel like, okay, I actually want to tell you the truth. Like, I want to tell you my real story. I'm not going to just tell you something to get you out of here, or like, oh, that weird lady's here again. She's just trying to get the story. Like, that's great. Like, I just think that would be so much fun, to just be able to like, just go to these places, these weirdo hotspots, and be like, so, and not talk to like the head of blah, 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 but talk to like, the custodian who cleans at night. Cause that's the docent who stays there all day, and makes sure that like nobody messes with the beautiful building. Like, those are the people that have the most experiences and a lot of the authentic experiences. Happy birthday, Bobby. I saw that up there.
Yes, happy birthday to Calgary Bobby there. You just gotta say to him, hey, I know you're a Flames fan, but happy birthday.
Happy birthday anyway, old man.
Right? Yeah, Bobby's 35 today.
Yeah. Little boy.
He found gray hair. It's all downhill from there. You know what happened literally the day after I turned 40? I literally woke up with back pain.
Aww.
Literally, I had no back pain up until the day after I turned 40, and it's been all downhill.
I don't even remember the day after I turned 40. So there you go.
Absolutely. We're going to continue on with the cryptid stories, because they are all kind of tied together, whether it's mermaids, banshees, Bigfoot, Dogman, everything kind of in between. And I'm curious. Werewolves. I want to get into some werewolves and Dogman with you when we return.
I know, we'll get into that.
I know it scares me, but here's the thing. The reason why is lately on social media, out of the blue, people I wouldn't expect have been saying they've been hearing about Dogman reports around my community.
Oh.
And I've heard about 3 of them now. And I'm going to look for Dogman in a couple weeks. Maybe even this weekend, if I can get in. Varla Ventura is our guest tonight. VarlaVentura.net. You can find all of her books right there. She's a keeper. That's why we got her every month here on the mighty SOR. Dogman, werewolves, and your questions when we return on Spaced Out Radio. Good stuff there, Varla.
Good stuff. Random stuff, but good.
Random. Random. Mr. Cowley.
Oh, I want to go read some. I haven't read any of the chats at all. I'm going back.
Oh, Mr. Cowley.
Go back.
Loves his Spaced Out Radio. Michael Darling, how you doing?
Oh my God. I shouldn't even read these. Should I read these? I'm afraid to read these.
Oh, they love you. They love you. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. You
all
read
right.
away.
I'm going to read the...
Read away, Orinoco Flow.
I feel like I should do something more interesting while Dave's not here. Dave's not here. You guys remember that? Dave's not here. Who remembers that? Read this chat. Okay. I know you guys said all kinds of funny things. So much. So I'll tell you something funny if you're still listening. At the beginning, when like Dave calls right before the thing, so we make sure we're online in time. And it was too bright in here. I was like, oh, it's too bright in here. So I turned this lamp off. And as soon as I turned it off, it was like too dark. But I was fine, like lighting wise. But then I was trying to find something to read, something in the mermaid book, and it was too dark for me to read. So now I can't see anything. So then and I can't reach the lamp, and I'm too lazy to do anything about it. So that's fun. Fun facts with Varla Ventura. Okay. Let's see what we got. Sorry I brought up mermaid tits. It had to happen. It's kind of, mood I'm in. Do you guys think Dave actually what does he say he does? He lets his dogs out or something? Is that what he says he's doing? We all know he's going to the bathroom. Oh dear. Oh. Whoopsies. Probably not supposed to say that. Definitely not supposed to say that. I feel like just if we go back through this chat, we're gonna have like just so many great band names, song titles, poems. We could make chat, SOR radio chat. Look at this. Vegas mermaids walking the strip at night, asking for dates. Different kind of mermaid. I mean, like, that's a poem right there. Lake mermaids. It's like something. I got some lake mermaids going on in this. Look, Joe Monk's question. I'm going to answer your Lorelei question here. Yeah, the Lorelei hangs out specifically in the Seine River, and the Lorelei are totally mermaid-like creatures, but they're confined to the river, and the Seine River in particular, which runs through Paris and other parts of Europe, and they're very, they have a lot of characteristics of the kind of more aggressive parts of the mermaid legends. So they really like to drown people. They like to trick them. They are very much associated with the currents of the Seine, and they have beautiful voices and kind of lure people down to the edge of the Seine River and then suck them in, especially people who have been drinking a lot in the Parisian bars. Bum, bum, bum.
Todd Burton, thank you for the awesome super chat. Very much appreciate that, my friend. Oh, Toddy Burton coming through just like that. Thank you.
I definitely didn't say things that I shouldn't have said.
Oh, that's okay.
I was real good while you were gone, but I totally talked the whole time.
Sure you were.
I was.
Sure
Very
you were.
well behaved.
All right. Varla!
Do you want you know what's funny? Look at what card I pulled right before the show. Well, I don't know if you'll be able to tell what it is, but it's the Wheel of Fortune card. How Vegas is that?
Very Vegas.
Then,
Philip,
like,
yeah, go ahead. We got like 30 seconds.
Wheel of Fortune, and then I got Victory, but then look what I got.
Everything's pointing to Vegas right now.
The Devil? I should think so.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Simon, for the hat trick, and Todd for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Hi, Philip Bacca, Stunning Stephanie Jackson. Welcome back, Banner Smith. Good to have you here. Carfoon Ibre, nice to see you, man. And we're going to roll right now.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Zerotripsis. Zerotripsis is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Here we go. Varla Ventura, another hour with her. VarlaVentura.net is her website as we hang on out talking cryptid and weird monsters all night long. We'll open up the floor in our chat rooms to questions for Varla as well. We're going to get into werewolves and dogman. But first, Varla, last night, I take my dog out. I think it was after the show or during one of the breaks. After the show, I think. And I actually saw 3 UFOs.
What?
I have not seen a UFO in almost 4 years. And so I go outside and my carport light comes on. For those of you who don't know, I broadcast out of my home. I have a beautiful studio in my home. And I go outside my carport. My dog goes into the backyard. And I always look up because the northern lights are supposed to be out last night. And they were glowing a little bit way off in the distance, which is kind of cool. And there were these, so I got this really bright sensor light in my carport that kind of blinds out a lot of the night sky when you walk through when it first goes on. But that's okay. I was able to see 3 dots right in a row flying straight away from my house. And they were cruising. I was pretty happy about that. And then they went through some clouds, and then I picked them up again as they were heading off towards the northeast. It was great. 3 in formation, not a triangle, like 3 in formation, like straight line. It was great. About time.
Awesome.
I was like, hey, about time. Where the hell have you guys been?
Yeah. It's been a while, huh?
About time. I thought they forgot about me. Truly did. Truly did. But they're back. They're back. All right. Werewolves. Dogman. Running around. There's been reports around my little town here of dogmen being seen. And I'm going to go find them. I'm going to go find them. I got the road. I know the road that they are allegedly on.
So what are people saying they're seeing?
Upright, dog-like looking creatures. And other people who've encountered them have said that they give off a very ominous, evil, get the hell out of there type of energy.
Like how big are
7 to 8 feet
tall. Oh, okay. All right.
What do you think?
Well, okay, I'm totally all for you going and exploring them.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're werewolves. Like that is literally exactly how people describe werewolves. They're 7, 8 feet tall, and they look like dogs. I mean, I think werewolves and dogmen are the same thing. I just don't understand how people think they're anything different. Why are they different? Because they don't look like wolves?
I don't know. That's not my call.
Well, I mean, I guess technically it's not my call either. I just don't get it.
Okay, so how come you don't think there's a difference, yet many people do? I mean, werewolf...
I know. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand.
Well, I think the difference is that many people who investigate the dogman don't believe that they are some human that has transformed on a full moon.
Oh, they're going with that.
That's what they're going with.
That's not the only... Okay, so that is not the only origin of werewolves, though. Like, that's a very narrow understanding of werewolves. So I guess that's probably where the misinformation kind of comes in. Because the idea of werewolf... Okay, all right. So I think I get...
Let's just start from the beginning here. Yeah. What are werewolves?
So werewolves are basically like humanoid wolves, right? They are shape-shifting human animals, right? They can go upright. They have human-like characteristics. And there are a lot of legends about people being able to turn into werewolves, but I'm pretty sure that there's legends about people being able to turn into dogmen too. Like it's a hybrid creature, which is basically, I guess that's probably the main difference there, but I don't really see the big difference. In my mind, it's not a huge difference. Werewolves are not necessarily like, it's not Teen Wolf, I guess, is my point. Like, that's not necessarily like werewolves are kind of lumped into that idea. So I think that werewolves are there's kind of a bigger thing going on with werewolves than people understand. And I don't even fully understand the greater idea of what being kind of a werewolf is. Like, I think that there's some original legends about what a werewolf is. It's like a person being having that ability to turn into a wolf to be able to hunt and then be able to turn back into a human. But I don't know, like, why wouldn't you also have, like, where's the evidence that a dog man isn't that also?
Well, I think people perceive the dog man as being its own creature. And in competition with Sasquatch for living in territory in the forests of around North America and maybe even other parts of the world.
Okay, so the dog man never transforms into anything other than just being a dog-like creature that's on its hind legs all the time.
Right.
Okay.
That's my opinion of things.
Okay. Okay. I mean, that gives me a little clarity. I'm not fully convinced personally, but I would love to know what you see because they just sound so much like. Have you ever read any of the sightings of the werewolves of like Bray Road, where people
Yeah.
basically? Okay, so I don't know about how things become werewolves or become dogmen, but the actual sightings and descriptions of what people see, that's the thing that I don't see any difference. It's like so similar in so many instances that like I can't tell you how it came to be that thing, but the descriptions are so similar. Like, it's a werewolf. So I'm not like, I'm not the authority. I'm not researching these things. I'm not investigating. I shouldn't say I'm not researching them. I'm not investigating them. I've never seen one. But if you read any of the descriptions of the werewolves of Bray Road, like, I mean, that's what they're like, these giant dog things on their hind legs with like glowing eyes that are like scary, that people don't want to see, like people not like us. So it just, I don't know, it's a big mystery. That's why we want to know more, right? Because I don't understand how they could be different things.
Well, we'll find out.
Yes,
And
one day we will, and then we'll be like, wow, I can't believe we thought that all along, and we were both so wrong.
Okay, Laura is asking, does Varla have a favorite tarot card deck?
Well, I have I've used a lot of different decks over the years. So, I think one thing that I tell people as far as like finding their favorite deck is to find a deck that you can read. So I don't, if you really like a deck because you look at it and the things in it look familiar, then that's a great deck for you. So if you love, and the first deck I ever learned to read on was an Alice in Wonderland tarot deck because I loved Alice in Wonderland when I was a kid. So when I picked up that deck, I understood what all the symbols and things meant. So if you find a deck that really kind of speaks to you, then that's a great deck for you. I personally learned to read the most on kind of like a classic Rider-Waite, but the deck I use like an herbal tarot. But right now I'm one of my favorite ones is this Thoth tarot deck that some little kind of wonderful leprechaun-y hermit guy buried in the ground up in Northern California and then gave to my mom and she gave to me. So that's my personal current favorite deck. But that's a very unique situation. So I have 4 decks actually behind me here, and I use all 4 of them simultaneously. So I do cards from all of them. So if I do a reading, I usually just use all 4 of them, which is very complicated, but I usually just do like a small, like 1 card from each of them. So yeah, that's my favorite deck, 4 decks.
All right, I have 2 in here.
Oh yeah, what's your favorite deck, Dave?
I have a deck.
Oh, I've never asked Dave this.
I have a deck called Shapeshifters.
Ooh. Okay,
Yeah.
Dave, can you pull a card for us, please?
Can always pull a card.
Get the devil.
See, it's got a wolf and a young lady on Oracles of the Shapeshifters by Lucy Cavendish.
Oh, I love Lucy Cavendish. I love her art.
Yes.
Lovely.
And every time I open up this one deck, this one same card comes out.
Oh, yeah?
It wouldn't surprise me if it's this one card because it always comes out. So I'm going to shuffle my deck here. It's not the devil.
It's going to be the devil.
Shame on you.
What?
I don't do the devil stuff. I'm not doing the devil's deeds like you are. Talking about the dark side of the paranormal. I'll shuffle it up. Look at that. There's the card right there.
It's coming out.
Actually, there's 2 of them that came out. One that says, Snow White and her animal friends, you inspire trust and confidence. Isn't that nice? That's for you, Varla Ventura.
Oh, we talked about Snow White earlier, remember? And how I said I like the witch. Cute. That's cute.
And the next one that came out with it is called Kitsune, which is really weird because it's very close to my street name. I will show you trust. So it's a young lady standing. Yeah, I pull cards every now and again.
Cool. Ooh, let's get our cards read in Vegas.
Let's get our cards read. Like, that's what I want to spend $100 on in Vegas.
It's not going to cost $100. It's going to cost $15.
You know how many people are going to be there from our fans who are probably going to bring tarot cards with them?
Yeah, perfect. Let's all bring our tarot cards. That'll be great. We'll see if we can all pull the same card. That would be amazing. It'll totally happen.
For you. This one just popped out of the deck. Deep Dark Sea Mermaid.
What? No way! It just popped out of the deck?
Find solutions in the unknown places in the darkness.
Yeah, baby! Right there. That's the theme. That's tonight's theme. That's the theme card.
Right?
That is
there you go.
The theme card.
That is, I'm going to try and find the one that always pops up for me. This one. This one always pops up for me right there. A Time to Say Goodbye.
Aww.
Yeah. I don't know that. Hold on. I haven't played with this deck in a long time. No, that's not it, actually. Hold on. I think I just got excited there for.
You pull that one at the end.
We never.
Someone just said predict each other's death on the flight home.
No. While we're waiting, I'll look for this card. Jenny is asking, have you heard about the vampire in New Orleans that shows up in top and cap hypnotizing girls?
Well, let's see. Okay, so we're not talking about the So there's the Samedi guy, and that's the like death guy who's like in the skull and the top hat, but he's not really I guess he's kind of vampire-like, but he's kind of more fun in a like death way. I don't know if that's the same guy. He's kind of more of a death ritual guy. I don't think that's the same thing you're talking about. And then there's the Lularu, but that's more of a shape-shifting, super rad werewolf type. I don't know, Abe. Do you know, Dave?
Okay. So Mennonite Abe asks, are Dogmen the same thing that James Lukatsky is reporting in the Skinwalkers at the Pentagon book? Yes, it is. So recently, Colm Kelleher and George Knapp wrote a book called Skinwalkers at the Pentagon.
Oh, didn't read it.
Yeah, it's a.
Did you read it?
I have not yet. But it's a very powerful book from what I'm hearing. I got to get mine. I keep forgetting.
Wait, Skinwalkers at the Pentagon?
Yeah.
Now that is scary.
Right?
Yeah. Now that's scary. That's a lot scarier than Banshees, actually. Yeah. I retract my original what scares you. And I'll take out Banshees and I'll put in Skinwalkers at the Pentagon. That's a lot scarier.
Well, I was going to ask you a little bit. Earlier if you have ever met with a werewolf, like a true werewolf,
like someone who identifies as a werewolf.
No, someone who is a werewolf.
I've never met someone who is a werewolf. I've met someone who claimed they were a werewolf. I mean, honestly, I've been in enough clubs where people have claimed they've been everything. You know what I mean? Like, I once met this guy who dressed all in white and would only eat white things. And powdered his face white and sort of, talked like Amadeus. So, I mean, so I've seen a lot of things. I have never met anyone who really I ever believed was a werewolf. I've met a hairy fellow or two, but I've never met anyone who claimed that I have met someone who claimed they were, a werewolf, but it was kind of during the Twilight era, and it really wasn't very very convincing. I've met a lot of people who identify as vampires. In fact, you've had one of them on your show, and I think that's much more common. And I don't mean common in a bad way, but just it's more common to identify as a vampire. It's kind of hard to identify as a werewolf.
Very true. Lala would like to know any news stories about ghost sex.
I mean, I just kind of have the same old stories about ghost sex. I still just have my autocratic ghost sex story. I'm sure there's more out there. I feel like there should just be a whole book about ghosts. Wouldn't that be a bestseller?
It totally would.
It really would. It really would. I think that's probably my next research project. I mean, forget everything else, right? It's got to be ghost sex. And I know, and how fun would that be to interview people? I think people would make things up for sure.
Oh, so totally.
Right? You'd be like, oh yeah, I have, because how would you prove them? I mean, you'd have a checklist of how can you tell? How would you vet people if they've had sex with a ghost or not?
Well, you know what, though? It's the same thing as people who claim alien abduction.
Yeah. Yeah, right? I know. You just have to listen and use your instincts.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Hey, I'll be upfront. I got regressed this weekend in San Francisco.
Me too. Sorry. So sorry. Yes, go on.
This is an adult show, just so you know. Right? No, Geraldine Orozco put me through a hypnotic regression. And I laid out some questions, and apparently I have been, if this is correct, and I'm not saying it is, I want to just put this on there that I am saying this with a big grain of salt put on top. But apparently I have been used for the hybridization program.
What does that mean?
Well, apparently I have been taken, according through myself through regression, that I have been used as a father to hybrid alien children.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, once again, I have no memory recall of it. I don't even know. I'm just saying that there's some hybrid spawn with my name out there, and I'm really hoping that it happened the old-fashioned way and not the other way around.
Are you sure about that? I mean, because in this situation, a cup might have been the better.
It's better than the Whitley Strieber way of providing a sample.
Oh, good point.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I said,
yeah,
I don't know whether I want to believe that or not, because like I said, I have no recall of it. I have no recall. I've only had 2 dreams, and I call them dreams because I'm not sure if they were actual abductions where I've seen people that I know.
What do you mean?
Like with ETs involved.
You mean people you know and ETs were in your dream and they had something to do with it?
Yeah. 3. Once was with Science Bob, another one with my partner, and another one with Samantha Mowat, my dad, my friend, and a former hockey player I coached. Weird. We got Varla Ventura Another half an hour on Spaced Out Radio. Where this is going, we don't know. We just know it's fun. Tune on in right after the break.
We don't know.
All right.
Could go anywhere.
Yeah. I don't know where it's going.
Wow, that's deep, Dave.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
We need some time. We need some time to process that in Vegas, I think. That's
Oh yeah. Yeah, seriously.
I'm a little I've really wanted to do a regression. Like 2 months ago, I really wanted to do a regression. And then I totally backed out of it. I was like, I don't know if I want to do a regression. And then I wanted to do it again. And then I was like, I don't know if I want to do a regression. I'm like afraid of it a little bit. Because I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's just like, yeah, is it going to say things and then it's going to put seeds in my mind of things that may or may not, you know what I mean? It's just like, Well,
like I said, my skeptical mind says, I don't know. I don't think so.
Right?
I have no recall of it. I have no memory of anything like that. I have no recollection of anything. Wonderful.
But wait, so in the regression, you said things?
Yes.
Did you record it?
Yes. I don't have the recording right now.
But you could, and when you listen to it, you'd be like, "Whoa, I said that." Yeah.
I don't have much recollection of that entire process. I was out.
I like how you say process.
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 Hi, Aussie Rob. How's them ham hocks doing? Rui Gonzalez, how are you? All the way from Portugal. Yeah. Like I said, now there's going to be people running around. Oh, Dave says now he's got this and he's done that. No, I don't know. I'm just going by what I was told.
Well, those jerks are going to have to answer to me. I told you I'm the fight person. I'm going to fight him. I'll bring my boxing gloves to Vegas.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I'll actually probably just bring... Actually, you know what? Father Sebastian, I did some work on a manuscript for him, and I just told him that he has to make me teeth in exchange. He hasn't yet, but he's going to make me fangs. I've always wanted them. So then I'll really scare people.
Are you going to walk around in like trunks, like boxing trunks?
No. God, no.
Donnie Cho, how are you, buddy? Good to see you.
Nope. Although Vegas would be the place to do it. Probably too cold. Did you see the Knights are playing though? The last night that... What night are you leaving?
Monday morning.
Yeah, the Knights are playing like Sunday night.
I have only been to like 3 NHL games since I left radio.
I've only been to like 2 in my whole life.
I went to like 486 in a row in Vancouver.
Oh, because you used to be a NHL, like used to cover it, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Professionally.
Yeah. Yep.
I've really only had one. I'm so boring with my UFO experiences. I've really only had one, and it wasn't abductee, but it was enough for me to, and also a lot of people I know have had them in that same area. So that's always like more convincing if a lot of people from the same kind of general area. And where it is, Dave, it's not unlike I think where you live, where it's quite rural. It's like very off grid. You might have electricity, but like where my parents live, there's no electricity, which was the worst thing on earth when you're 16-year-old girl, but it was pretty badass, really, in the grand scheme of things.
That is kind of cool. That's old school living.
Oh yeah, they still don't have electricity. It's
Magnus, have you ever had an implant, Dave? Yes, I'm implanted in the back of my head.
Are you?
That I do know because I woke up on the table when they were doing it. Big thank you to Science Bob, Todd Purdon, and a hat trick from Simon on the Super Chats tonight. And thank you to all the veterans who are tuning in, everybody who's new, who hit that subscribe button. We're just like 40 some away from 16,000 subscribers here.
Whoa, that's so many.
Let's do it. Final half hour with Varla coming up now.
Your chat.
We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate you all tuning on in. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do us the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Varla Ventura, we got her till the top of the hour for Our Cryptid World, where we talk monsters all night long. VarlaVentura.net is her website. You can check out her books there on Amazon or in any major bookstore. Varla, welcome back.
Oh, hi.
Yes.
What? These books?
She holds up her books for our YouTube crowd.
Hello.
Donnie is asking, Dave, were you ever a pro wrestling fan? Yes. I started watching wrestling in about 1986. I was a giant Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff fan. Hulk Hogan I kind of liked. I really got into the Attitude era with Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then The Rock came around, and he's just so damn handsome. So damn handsome. But yes, we're almost I don't watch a lot of wrestling now. I think it's too choreographed. The wrestlers aren't real. You know, they can't cut a promo worth crap anymore. You know.
Because Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant were definitely not choreographed.
No, but I mean, all the wrestlers kind of look the same.
Oh my God, it was so good. It was so good back then.
It was. You know, I mean, if you ever want to get a chance, like go on YouTube and listen to like Ric Flair just talk stories about, you know, his wrestling career around Charlotte, North Carolina, and literally all of his promos were what he was living at the time, with the alligator shoes and the Rolex watches and the limousines and the private jets and the women and everything along with it.
The women.
You know?
Just the women. He just had some women. There was just like women. He had alligator shoes and women.
That's what it was all about for
the women.
Oh yeah.
They're just lined up. Women.
Oh yeah.
Women.
Oh yeah.
Who's your women?
Who's your favorite wrestler?
Well, I meing, take a guess. I like Jesse the Body Ventura, obviously. And I also really liked I liked Hulk Hogan. I mean, I liked Hulk Hogan because of he was in the Cyndi Lauper video, you know,
Yes.
for girls just want to have fun. So that kind of, you know, melted
Captain
my heart.
Lou Albano. Captain
Yeah,
Lou
and I loved Andre the Giant. He was in The Princess Bride, you know, Fezziwig. So I kind of loved that little crew there. They were kind of the hot crew. That was kind of my era right there. But yeah, I used to watch that a lot with my dad. We would watch WWF.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, those were the good old days. Rowdy Roddy Piper, yes.
Oh my God, Rowdy Piper was red. Oh, and do you remember that movie They Live that starring Rowdy Piper? And I think he actually funded a lot of it with the glasses that you put on, and then you looked around and you saw all the, you know, the subliminal advertising and the alien invasion and stuff, which is like such a great concept and totally true.
Donnie says, my old Korean grandma who couldn't speak a lick of English hated Ric Flair. That is awesome. That's awesome.
She's like, I hate that guy.
Rowdy Roddy Piper, good Canadian kid. Good Canadian kid. Mm-hmm. Dad was an RCMP officer. So you know. But that's the way it is. Anyways, back to monsters with you. We were talking werewolves. We were talking Dogman. And everything in between, audience questions as well. Now, so you believe that dogmen are werewolves. Do you believe, though, that all werewolves can shapeshift into people?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I totally do. So I guess if by that definition, I think that yes, I think that that's possible, that's what dogmen do as well. And we just don't see it, which is crazy because that's pretty haunting and terrifying, isn't it? I mean, I believe that. I don't know that, Dave, you know, I mean, I'm just whatever. I'm making it up as much as anyone else, right? Like, I don't know that. I mean, we're talking about completely fantastical creatures here that we're hoping that we get a chance to see and we might learn a little bit more about. I believe that they exist. I am not convinced that they're not the same thing. I just think they're called different things because they're primarily from different centuries. I just don't think people see werewolves as much, and so now they're calling them dogmen. That's just, you know, I don't think people see goblins that much, so they call them something else. It's just that's just my own personal theory. We'll see if I'm right in, you know, let's give it 15 years. All right, in 15 years, we'll see. Someone will catch one and it'll be in a cage, and then they'll like go in and it'll just be like some poor kid from down the road.
Do you think some of these cryptids are catchable?
Well, I mean, if you look at the folkloric record, yes. But so far in the last 40 years, no. But that's just a drop in the bucket. You know, I think we have a short attention span today. We want it now. And we're looking at like a very, very short period of time in which, you know, we're talking about things that have existed for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And we're just looking at like, you know, we haven't gotten it on TikTok yet.
Come on, get it on TikTok. We need it on TikTok.
We're such jerks, you know? Like, honestly, we have no patience. So, yeah, I mean, why do we want to catch them? We just want to see them and learn more, you know? Like, I would much rather sit down and have a cup of tea with a puka than put it in a cage. But we just have this, like, fierce instinct to, you know, rope it and throw it down.
Well, I think that goes to the fact, you know, like apparently there was this scientist just a few years ago. You can I read the story here on air where a scientist was in Costa Rica or Guatemala or one of the Central American countries, and he was looking for this particular bird that was said to be extinct, and he ended up seeing a couple of these birds, caught one of them in a net. And so instead of photographing it and letting it go, he broke its neck, put it in a Ziploc bag, so that way he could study the bird.
Ugh, puke. That's so horrible.
Yeah.
I guess the other question is like, why? You know, like, what is it that we're trying to get out of it? Like, why can't we just accept that there are things that we're never going to fully grasp? Like, why can't we just accept that there is this other world full of amazing and, supernatural and incredible and fearsome and dangerous creatures that we don't belong to and that don't belong to us? Like, why do we have to own everything? We always have to like own things and put it in a box and put it in a category and put a label on it. And like, why can't we just, I mean, I understand the drive to try and find things and find out more. Like, I'm all about curiosity, but why do we always have to like put it in a box and put it on our wall and say like, we got that one? Like, why can't we just accept that we don't know everything and just like embrace that? It's a bit much, quite frankly.
Well, I think it's because we have morbid curiosity in knowing everything that surrounds us, and the fact that we have that ability to have that curiosity, we want to make sure that we have the ability to see what it's worth and what's the value, what does it feel like, what makes it tick, and we do that through scientific autopsies and we do.
And fur coats.
Well, I mean, that's a little bit, yeah, but hold
okay,
on.
I need a Sasquatch coat, Dave. No, I'm just kidding.
Look, going back, look, I'm not all for the whole fur trade or anything like that. I think it's kind of vile, but back then, if you're going back, 200, 300, 400 years where we didn't waste animals for the sake of wasting animals. I mean, how else do you keep warm in a winter? Outside
I'm
of
not talking about that. I'm talking about the supernatural world that we're like obsessed with. Like, I don't know. Like, it's, I just, at a certain point, it's okay to not know. And we can't, we're never gonna, like, it's just, at a certain point, it's okay to not know. It really is. It's okay to just like drop it. I don't know what point that is because, here I am. I'm still wanting to know. But at a certain point, like, I'm not saying that we don't continue to look into it or find it, but like, why do we have to catch them? Like, why do we have to like prove it? I don't know. It's just a question that comes to mind frequently when things get trashed along the way, if you know what I mean.
Of course, but we haven't really done in the overall big picture in the grand scheme of things. That's what we do best is we ruin things.
All right, that's right. That's what we're up for.
But that's the truth of it. I mean, there's very few species that kill for the sake of killing. Okay.
Yeah.
Very few. Wolves do
just for the kill just for the kill. Usually you're just
wolves
killing.
do it. Some killer whales do it, but I believe chimpanzees
mostly do it just to eat or protect. They don't really do it just for fun. I mean, humans do it for fun, right? Like, that's your point. There's not.
But the original portion of that, previous to coming to North America and ruining everything here, was to have food because we are carnivores. But that is now being debated. But nonetheless, let's get back to monsters. I'm an omnivore. My canines are worn out. I know I've asked you this before. I'll ask you again because the question came up earlier.
I'm a vegetarian.
About what's Varla's Varla bone. Anyways, your opinion on portals?
Portals, love them. You mean, do I think they're real? I absolutely think they're real. Where will we find them? That kind of thing, like where to look for one. Do I think Vegas is one? Should we go through one in Vegas? I think that portals exist in particular where like ley lines cross. I think that's the most likely place to find portals and where people go through portals. And I think that portals have existed for, as long as the world has been here. I think ley lines are those energy grids. People talk about them all the time. They're places where energy crosses, and that's where portals are. And that's how you get into other realms. I mean, you see it in the folkloric record all the time across cultures. That's how you can cross into other realms. It's how you can enter into the fairy kingdom, for example. You don't just like, you're just like walking along through a field. You have to go through a portal. That's how you can, it messes with time. So if that's what you mean about portals, totally believe that they exist and you can go through them. I think that I've been through one. There's been a couple of times that I've definitely been very completely lost track of time. In a, not just like, oh, I lost track of time, but like in a very extreme sense. But I have not consciously entered a portal and gone like, oh, this must be the portal. But there's been a couple times where I sort of unknowingly stepped into something where I was sort of lost in time and space for a bit there, sober, for anyone who was wondering. But I haven't really done a lot of portal surfing myself. They kind of freak me out because I already am like, honestly, a person that is like barely got my foot in this world, to be perfectly frank. I mean, in case you can't tell, I am like barely in this world most of the time. I'm not like a super like, hey, I'm, gonna put my backpack on and go to the grocery store kind of person. I don't know, I'm just like, I'm kind of floating in between both worlds most of the time anyway. So I'm not out there looking for portals. I don't really want to mess around with time. I have a kind of a funky relationship with time as it is. So portals, how do you feel about portals? What's that?
I think that portals are the main reason why so many people are going missing.
Like you think people are just like cruising through portals and never coming back?
Yeah. That's exactly what I believe. I think that when they go through a portal, they don't even know, because they have continued going and continuing what they're doing on the other side. And on this side, they're gone. But on the other side, they've met up with their friends again, or they've met up with their, whatever they need to do.
Like there's a whole like flip side kind of like doppelganger world or whatever.
Yes.
You don't think they just like realize at a certain point that they just have gone through a portal? Because I kind of think you'd realize that you've gone into this other dimension and you're like, whoops. But I don't know, because there's all those crazy time slip stories. Like you hear those stories. There's not like a billion and billion of them, but there's those stories where like, someone, I heard one on like Jim Harold's Campfire Stories where this guy sees himself walking through his own house, but he sees himself as a kid. And it's like he sees a ghost, but it doesn't feel like a ghost. And then he sees this kid, it's like 9-year-old kid walking through the house. And then when he's a 9-year-old kid, he sees a guy in the kitchen making a sandwich. And then when he's a 17-year-old kid, he sees a 9-year-old kid looking into the kitchen he sees the guy making the sandwich or whatever. So he like sees himself, and it's this total time slip thing. And it's this really kind of like weird other kind of paranormal experience where you're not just seeing a ghost, you're actually seeing yourself, or you hear a voice and it's your own voice from 10 years ago. And it's like that kind of portal thing, which is really weird, because then you're talking about time in a whole other way that is, I completely believe in. It's kind of really mess with your mind, but time is definitely not linear. We all know that, right? I mean, we really want to believe it's linear, and the world kind of wants us to believe it's linear, and it puts us on a linear, okay, we got to be at work at a certain time, and we're all looking at linear calendars, and we're planning on linear calendars, and we're planning on linear watches, but yet things go awry constantly. Like we're never on time, and whatever things are, like it's a struggle, right? It's a struggle, and it's become, I don't know about you guys, but it's become a greater struggle for me and for everyone I know in the last 3 years. Staying on that linear time frame has become, it's like it's split apart at the seams. And
Very true.
right. So it's kind of great in many ways, but also slightly incredibly terrifying. So yeah, fun times. Woo! Next 10 years.
We got time for one more question here, Varla, and this one comes from Magnus. What's your thoughts on the Fae folk?
Well, I have many, many thoughts. How much time do we have, Dave?
We got 3 minutes.
Okay. Well, I am a big, I wouldn't say scholar, because that involves, let me put my glasses on and then I'll feel more scholarly. I wrote a book on, it's called Fairies, Pookas, and Changelings. I'm a big fan of the Fae. I look at the fairy kingdom kind of like the way you might look at the plant kingdom. So I consider the world of the Fae, I think mermaids, Pookas, changelings, banshees, leprechauns, fairies. They're all kind of part of that kingdom of the Fae. There's terrifying creatures, there's sweet creatures, there's things you can help you clean your house, there's things that will grab you from the road at night, there's things that will kind of protect your animals, there's things that will pinch your children. There's a whole array of fairy creatures, and just like humans, they're quite diverse, and they have certain things that they like and dislike. And so the Fae kind of have their whole kind of hierarchy and world going on. And so that's something that I find fascinating. I think that there's a lot of cross-cultural types of, fairies from around the world. But for me, I personally have an affinity for the Irish, and in particular, the Irish fairy and folklore, and then kind of Celtic and, British Isles in general, like Ireland and Wales in particular, I'm most interested in. So yeah, the book is called Fairies, Pookas, and Changelings. And it's available on varlaventura.net.
There you go.
Look, I'm 90 seconds.
90 seconds left with you, my friend, and it's been an absolute blast.
That's it. See you in
great
Vegas.
play.
Yeah.
Are you past 92% now as the show is gone?
95. I'm feeling 95.
95% that Varla Ventura will be attending our Vegas event, where everyone is invited. Everyone. April 22nd to 24th.
Yeah.
It's going to be a blast.
Time is totally different in Vegas. That's for sure.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
48 hours is like 92 hours there.
Yes. I once stayed in Vegas for 6 days.
Oh my God.
Days. Way too long.
Honestly, 4 days is too long.
4 days for me is perfect. 4 days is perfect.
Yeah, if you count the day you're flying out. It's
just
because you don't sleep, because there's just too much to do.
I saw Guns N' Roses 3 times in 6 nights.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Well, yeah, we should talk itinerary coordination.
Itinerary is this. Find me at the bar at the Golden Nugget. I will be right by the entrance. You can come hang out.
Obvious.
Yes, I will be obvious. How can you miss my hair? And then on Saturday, we have the live show that we're going to do on YouTube. We're going to bring in a bunch of friends in there. And before that, hey, find me. Let's eat, because Dave likes to eat. And afterwards, we're going to party again. And then on Sunday, who knows? Maybe we'll drive out to Area 51.
Yeah, that's the itinerary part that I want to talk about. That's the only part I want to know about.
Varla Ventura, everybody. Coming up next, we got Swamp Dweller and the superest Duke of them all, from World Bigfoot Radio, Duke Sullivan with his Cryptid Report. And then it's the Dave 101. Rookies entering the field. What should you know? What should you not? What are you laughing at?
Oh, no.
By the way, Varla has been on the moon juice the entire show.
Can you tell? Can you guys tell the difference? Actually, I haven't. I've mostly been drinking water. I only refilled once. And I just put a tiny little bit. And you're smoking anyway.
Robert Garcia, how are you? Oh, well. You can hang out with us if you want. Or
yeah, I'm going to look right now at my calendar. I'm going to just book a ticket while I'm drunk. That's the best idea. I'm not drunk.
You go.
I'm going to get drunk and book a ticket. How about that?
You do that. Do something foolish tonight.
Ooh, okay. I will. That's a good idea.
Much love, my friend.
Okay, thank you. Thanks
Good
for
night.
bearing with me. Good night.
Varla Ventura, everybody. Look who it is. There he is. The man they call Super Duke.
Hey, Dave.
Back, buddy. You take the audience. Donald Stevens,
All
how
right.
are you?
Hey, guys. And that was the mellifluous tones of Dave Scott, now being followed by the not quite so mellifluous tones of Duke. What's up, everybody? Going to be talking about some, again, completely different stuff. Now for something completely different. No more devil monkeys and what did we talk about last night? Narumbi. No devil monkeys and Narumbi for tonight. Hey, Nicholas. Jessica, Almenial Scientist, Peppa, Angels, Margie. Now we're going to go to the other end of the scale on this one, Nicholas. Hey, Gordium. There's a story of a nasty cryptid, and the lunatics are looking for it. So everybody put in your guess in the chat room. What's the oldest Bigfoot report ever? What is the oldest recorded Bigfoot report ever? Tony? Angel's guess is 1880s. Paranormal Pixie, 1889. Now, we've already had ones I've talked about earlier than that, Paranormal Pixie. 1780. Peppa, that's about as old of one that I've heard in writings in any books. But the one I'm thinking of was up by Lake of the Woods and was probably not a Bigfoot. It was probably a Gugwee, judging from the description. Abe. Cool, Guardian. That's right, Corruption's our network. Except I don't know if I'm necessarily nice. I'm just honest. So nobody's guessing yet. I've seen 1492. There's no report from 1492.
After all that, I forgot to get myself a drink.
Well, damn it.
Again.
Been hanging out with Varla make you thirsty.
Right. Corruption Caesar Network. Corruption Czar Network. Welcome to SOR chat.
Hey, DFB, thanks, buddy.
Human Carl's here, everyone. Human Carl has entered the building. We love our Human Carl around here. Yes, we do. A great veteran as well, Human Carl. Absolutely. We love him around here. So glad he's back.
Hey, Steve and Jenny.
Duke, what's your opinion on Melba Ketchum? We got 40 seconds.
She's 100% legit. 3 thumbs up.
Manuel, we're I don't know if we've reached out to David Paulides lately. He hasn't been doing a lot of interviews. So we'll try and get him back on. All right. Duke, your hair looks fantastic tonight.
Yep. I soaked it in the blood of my enemies a couple days ago. It really revivifies it.
Very nice. Very nice.
We're still getting guesses. The question during the break was, what's the oldest Bigfoot report that you guys know of? 1400 documented in this country from the Vikings. Flat Rock, no. That's 986 when they were over here, so that's over 1,000 years ago. And yes, they did report them. That's a good guess.
All right, Duke, give me a second. Hi, Flat Rock. How you doing, buddy? Hi, Grandma. Hi, Grandma. Hi, Grandma. Thank you to Simon ×3, Todd, Bob, Donnie ×2 for the super chats. Very much appreciate it. We're going to kick off hour number 3. Hi, gorgeous D. Swiger. Nice to see you. And here we go.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate you all tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Follow us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Zerotripsis. Zerotripsis is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam has the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with hour number 3, which means we bring in our resident swamp dweller with another spooky tale for you.
Hi, Spaced Out Radio listeners. This is Swamp Dweller. It's time for your nightly dose of spookiness on the show. If you have an interesting encounter or a spooky story that you would like to share, be sure to submit them in at swampdweller.net. You can also find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/swampdwellerreads. Now, let's chill out, relax, and together, let's enter the swamp. Hi, Swamp Dweller. I love your channel. I started listening to you a couple of months ago and have watched and listened to almost everything. It was only whilst listening to an episode of Stories from a Cryptid Hunter that I realized I have had a cryptid encounter myself. Now, this is not a story by any means, so I do apologize to you and your listeners in advance. But I had to get this out there, because after hearing that episode, the goosebumps I got, the wave of excitement at the prospect of an undocumented creature, and that I witnessed it with my own eyes, just was overwhelming. Just to know that there is something that amazing out there, and if they are out there, I wonder what else is. Anyways, to start off, I live in a rural area on the northwest coast of Ireland, which is going to be a very strange place for a cryptid encounter, I believe. As from what I remember, the story on your channel is that these creatures preferred the western regions of America, but I do believe it is what I saw that day, and I believe that they are linked. I am a male. I am 32 years old, and this happened to me when I was roughly 11, and I have never spoke of it to anybody, Because to be honest, I was a kid and I just thought it was my imagination running wild, and I knew nobody would believe me. That was until I heard about it on your channel. I grew up on a small housing estate, on a little hill surrounded by miles upon miles of mountains, forest, trees, and bogland, in a very rural part of Ireland. It's in the biggest national park in our country. We lived across from a church with a little forest of trees surrounding its grounds, and to the left of it was a community center, and down the hill to the left of us, about a 2-minute walk away, was a small shop and pub. The only shop within 20 miles, which is no longer even there. On this day, in particular, my mother asked me to go to the shop, which was not unusual. She did this maybe 5 or 6 times a day, as I am the oldest of my siblings. Nothing felt off that day or anything. There was a slight breeze in the air, and it was a bit cold from what I remember. So I'm thinking it was late summer, early autumn, as the leaves were still on the trees. Anyway, I was on my way back up from the shop just as I started to reach the footpath of the estate, which my house was just 4 driveways away from me at this point. I was looking down as I was making sure I had my mom's change and glanced up quickly and then back down again. When I glanced up, I noticed something. You know when you get that glimpse of something in your peripheral vision? Well, I quickly looked up again, and honestly, I was in shock to what my eyes were seeing. At the very corner of the churchyard, which is about just across the road from the gable side of the last house of the estate, which was about 100 to 150 yards away from me, I saw this gigantic condor vulture-looking bird or creature. Unfortunately, I could not see its entire body, but I did see most of its side, including the left side of its breast, its left wing, its long featherless neck, and this massive curved bill. I should add that I have been into birds and animals my entire life, and used to make my own bird books as a child, as I didn't have many friends and got bullied quite a lot. So birds and animals were my way of escape, and I can name any bird I see. But what I saw that day, I am not joking, was like no bird I had ever seen, and have not again seen one to this day. Also, we don't have anything remotely like this bird in Ireland. It was easily 12 to 15 feet. And its wingspan was enormous, although I did see its left wing flapping as the other was blocked by the tree line. When I saw it, I froze on the spot and dropped my shopping bag. I was in total disbelief of what I was seeing. Right until it looked at me with its huge eye, it had extended its neck out to the left and it turned its head to look at me. And when it did, I swear I almost pissed my pants right then and there. This bird was so huge and it seemingly noticed me. At that moment, I was sure it was going to fly over and carry me away. But thankfully, after it looked at me with a glare, I swear, its wings flapped so hard to back out from the trees. It was like gale force winds were being sent down into the branches. It shook almost everything, every tree, every animal. I can still feel the force of the wind that day that hit my face. It turned around and flew behind the trees, towards the mountain to the northwest, and I never saw it again. As I said near the beginning, I never told anybody because I didn't really know if these things existed and I didn't want to be called crazy. Until I listened to that episode on your channel about thunderbirds. I have always been a skeptic even though I have had a few strange occurrences happen to me over the years, which I will share with you in the future if you would like. I always believe there can be a logical explanation for the strange happenings, and that I am just not smart enough to figure them out sometimes. So I chalk this off as imagination. But honestly, I know what I saw and felt that day was real, and now thanks to your channel, I fully believe I encountered a thunderbird.
Wow, Thunderbirds. Do you believe in them? Do you not? That's what makes life interesting around here. Thank you to Swamp Dweller for coming on in with another spooky story. You can find him on YouTube at Swamp Dweller Reads, and we're a big supporter of him. I literally, after this show, I will crawl into bed listening to Swamp Dweller and fall asleep. It is so entertaining, his channel. So make sure you go check it on out. Another guy you should check out is World Bigfoot Radio on YouTube. Super Duke Sullivan comes on in each and every week to tell us some weird cryptid stories. Super Duke, what's going on, my friend? Always a pleasure to have you here.
Always a blast to be here. Big sky howdy from the heart of the Rocky Mountains and the big central zone of cryptid infestation over here. Tonight, we're going way, way back in history. And the question that I asked everybody during the break in chat room was, what's the oldest Bigfoot, Sasquatch, wildman sighting ever recorded? And they're all having fun guessing in the chat room. And of course, most of the Bigfoot aficionados will immediately default to, well, the first mention of the word Bigfoot was the Jerry Crew and Ray Wallace in the 1950s, where some glib newsman coined the term Bigfoot. Of course, that didn't exist before then. So before the 1950s, nobody even called Bigfoot Bigfoot. They had different names for it, whatever area of the world it was in. And of course, up there in the beautiful area that Dave lives in, it was Sasquatch. Sasquatch lives up there. And down here in all the different parts of the country, they had different names for it. So as far back as anybody in chat guessed was 1780s. And yes, there was a report from Lake of the Woods in Canada from a logging crew in the 1780s. But the description of that being does not match a Bigfoot. It does match a Gugly. So let's go directly back in the newspaper and other forms of mainstream media accounts, what before the Jerry Crew thing was around. Well, of course, they weren't talking about them being here in North America, but they were talking about them being in the Himalayas. And specifically, I'm referencing the Yeti. And those newspaper accounts started coming out back in the 1920s when they were first trying to climb Mount Everest. And the Himalayan mountains are famous for the stories of the Yeti. The hairy mystery of the high valleys became famous also as the abominable snowman. Among the tales collected from the roof of the world were accounts telling of these things. They were shunned for many years because the size of these bipedal primates seemed too large to be believable. In the 1950s, of course, which is what we were just talking about, curiosity about the identity of the abominable snowman drew Sir Edmund Hillary into the search. The excitement had been building since the 1920s. Stories of hairy man-like creatures were known. Footprints in the snow and mud were found to indicate that some such creatures were active in out-of-the-way places. The Sherpas in Nepal know several types of abominable snowmen in the wilds of Asia. When Hillary went to the roof of the world to look for the Yeti, he and his collaborator, journalist Desmond Doig, noted that there were several unknown primates said to be there, still undiscovered in any formal way by scientists. One of them that you haven't heard of is the Nyalmo. Hillary and Doig learned of the Nyalmo in north-central Nepal. It was said to be, quote, giant-sized, up to 20 feet tall, man-like hairy, and given to shaking giant pine trees in trails of strength with other Nyalmos as they would sit around and apparently clap their hands. In the 1890s, there was a report of killing one of these things. The incident began with some telegraph workers who disappeared at the pass of Jalapla in Sikkim. Dr. G.N. Dutt reported the results in the Times of India for 17 May 1953. Immediately afterwards, this is being after they had shot the creature, the troops stationed nearby, after they had sighted it, the British troops stationed nearby were summoned to search for the bodies and also to account for mysterious disappearances. Few hours search resulted in the discovery of a snowman who was apparently responsible for the death of the missing persons. Of course, for the soldiers, this was an easy target with their rifles, for it was alleged to have been about 12 foot tall with shaggy hair. An early investigator of Yeti reports named Charles Stonor had heard of this report. He dismissed the episode, apparently because of the large size of the dead creature. Bernard Heuvelmans, which a lot of you sages will recognize as one of the co-founders of cryptozoology, in On the Track of Unknown Animals, gives a lengthy account of an Indian pilgrim observing giants in this part of the world. The passage appears in a 1937 book by Jean Marquis Riviere. The pilgrim had heard from chance observers of the giants that they spoke an unknown tongue. He saw them himself after joining a small expedition in Nepal, then went looking for them. The group came upon footprints in the mud that measured 2 feet long. At that point, all but 3 of the expedition turned back. No kidding. Eventually, following a drumming sound, the 3 came upon a ring of 10 giant ape men, 10 to 12 feet in height. One of them was beating a drum while the others moved in ritual fashion. They were described as hairy with faces that were a mixture of man and gorilla. And of course, if you want to go in the 1930s, there were repeated instances of giant footprints being reported from India, which of course borders on the Himalayas. News from Calcutta on 19th July 1935 told of 22 by 11-inch tracks near Jalpaiguri. Woodcutter followed the prints. He collapsed and eventually died after catching sight of what made the tracks. It was, he said, gigantic and had human appearance. So these sort of weird reports have been coming out of there for a long time. And I also like to point everybody's attention to something that there are many, many links on YouTube to. News story that came out a few years ago about the Indian Army deciding to climb Makalu, which borders their country, and actually have somebody summit the dang thing. And in the process of going up there, they ran across and documented a track line of 32 by 17-inch tracks. And they put it out on Twitter, and the world freaked out and said, "What are you talking about? They don't exist." And they said, "Hey, we found the tracks, we documented them. You figure it out. It's not our job." So before you dismiss it, there could be things up there that big, 32 inches being, pretty close to a yard in length for the footprints. Oh my God. But those are not that is not the oldest thing. Yeah. This is all on YouTube. Go look it up. There's tons and tons from all the countries around there, and from London, and international news also picked it up. And because it was the Indian Army that posted it on Twitter, man, and it wasn't a joke. They've never retracted it. So is that the oldest stuff then? We go back to the Yeti. Is that the oldest stuff? Well, the oldest report on the North American continent, and keep in mind, we can't count. Obviously, the natives have the oldest reports, but they're not written down. They're not dated. When exactly did it happen? If it's more than a few hundred years ago, it's in the ancient past. They don't know exactly when it happened. So the oldest written report we got in North America came from the Vikings when they were in North America. Leif Erikson, 986, I think that was it. 996, late 900s. Anyway, he was over here in North America. They had a little settlement for a short period of time, and they returned with reports of sightings of beings that they said were huge and swarthy, very primitive. None of the North American natives are swarthy. Swarthy means you're all covered with hair and beard and everything. And they also didn't fit the huge profile for the most part. So people point to that going, well, wait, maybe that's why they didn't actually colonize North America. Because the usual methodology for the Vikings, who were extremely paranoid about supernatural things, was that when they saw something, they wanted to make sure that it was actually really there. And the way to test if something is flesh and blood or a spirit, from a Viking standpoint, is shoot an arrow into it. And if it goes ouch or runs, screams or something, okay, then it's flesh and blood. Now we know what we're dealing with. It's not some kind of supernatural specter or something. So if they did their usual test methodology with the first Sasquatch they ran into, that would have actually provided some fairly unfriendly results, no doubt, from the Sasquatch, who maybe then didn't want them to hang around. But for whatever reason, be it them or the other local natives, they didn't last too long in North America. So that's the oldest report we got from Leif Erikson. Well, it's the oldest report in North America. There was another, actually the oldest story in the English language is Grendel, the story of Beowulf, which has Grendel in it. And that's from 550s in the Danelaw, which is not part of Daneland now. It's part of southern Sweden. But of course, this isn't, in the movie, you can go see Beowulf, and it does a pretty good job of telling the whole story, which, by the way, we almost lost at one point. There was only one copy of it, and some idiot was cleaning out the library and was going to throw it into the incinerator. And at the last minute, a professor of English language grabbed his little arm and stopped him from doing something stupid. And that person that stopped it was J.R.R. Tolkien. But not to digress too much, having saved the oldest manuscript in the written English language, let's go back and review it. They got a mead hall. They're making a big racket. What's near their mead hall? A swamp and like a mountain. And what happens when they get too loud having their party in the woods, so to speak? The troll comes down, kicks the crap out of them, and shuts up the racket. We've heard this a lot from Bigfoot stories. The general description of Grendel is pretty Bigfoot-like too. Okay, so that's the oldest one where there's a mention of it, and the oldest, anything written in the English language. and there's like this Bigfoot troll-like thing. And so that's the oldest thing, right? Nope. Let's go back 5,000 years ago to Mesopotamia, Iraq, that whole area where we have the Epic of Gilgamesh. King Gilgamesh is a giant. There's still statues of him. He's got a full-grown lion under his arm. He's holding like a kitten. Okay. And the legend of Gilgamesh is that, not only did he help civilize everybody and establish good civilization practices, like presumably decent food and sewage, but he also went around and cleaned out all the local monsters, because it was a fun thing to do when you're a giant and a badass. Go around and stomp all the local monsters' butts. And he was very successful at it. And then he got reports that there wasn't so much of a monster. He wasn't really a pest, but he was scaring the locals because he was really big and scary. And would King Gilgamesh please come take care of the scary monster in the woods? Well, he went over there to where the scary monster in the woods was, and found it finally and had a big battle with it. And this scary monster was Enkidu, a wild man, who promptly whipped Gilgamesh's butt. But then he decided to be friends with him. So he became his companion. He was Gilgamesh's sidekick on all the rest of his adventures. And they went around and together they wiped out all the monsters and saved the world at the end. So that's the oldest story with the Bigfoot in it, right? No. The oldest language on earth, it goes back so far, nobody even knows how far it goes back, is Sanskrit. In the Ramayana, the legends of Lord Rama, it mentions how his wife was stolen by a demon lord named Lanka, who took her away to where Rama could not get to her, which was on the demon lord's island, Sri Lanka. Rama didn't have a navy or anything, and he didn't have enough flying craft to haul his army over there with him. So he was trying to figure a way to get there, and he came upon the idea of making a bridge from India to Sri Lanka. And to do this, he enlisted the aid of his allies, the Vanara. And if you look at the description of the Vanara in Sanskrit, present day, they're thought of as monkey men, and they're presented as monkey men on temple carvings and stuff where they have tails. The original description in Sanskrit does not say anything about them having tails. Vanara literally means forest men, forest people. And the description is they didn't wear clothes or covered with hair, and they were the size of elephants. So they drug a whole bunch of big giant stones into place, and they made a causeway from the mainland right over to Sri Lanka, and they helped Lord Rama invade, killed all the giants in Sri Lanka, and Lord Rama recovered his girlfriend. Now, there's an interesting myth, but is it a myth? Recently, from satellite, they've actually noticed that there was the remains of an old stone bridge going from mainland India to Sri Lanka. It's called Adam's Bridge. So they sent an archaeological team down just a couple years ago, to go under the ocean there and dig around on this thing and see if it's natural formation of some kind or if it was actually built by someone. And their conclusion is absolutely it was built by someone, and at least 6,000 years ago. Not sure how old it is. Interestingly, the remains of this old causeway matches exactly the description of the length and width provided in the Ramayana.
Wow. Ancient, man. Ancient. There's a lot more.
According to that story, now here's the tie-in with the Yetis. According to that story, there was the leader of apparently this other group that weren't the Vanara, that were similar to him, that lived in the Himalayas, were a lot more savage and not quite as smart. And their leader was smart enough that he could read and speak. And he came and talked to Lord Rama, but he only sent a very few of his people with to help. And the rest of them, they all just stayed in the Himalayas.
Right. Right. Well, my friend, it is time for us to wrap that up, because we only got about 40 seconds here before we have to say goodbye. Do us a favor, take the time, let everybody know where they can find your fantastic channel, World Bigfoot Radio.
World Bigfoot Radio is available on YouTube, Brightly, on BitChute, Odyssey, and Rumble. And my support groups are World Bigfoot Central on MeWe, and World Bigfoot Radio, and Montana Bigfoot Project on Facebook.
That's why we love you, Super Duke. You are always rogue with your reports. We never know where you're going with them. And this is why you're one of the best out there. Keep it on up, my friend.
Very easily done, Dave. I'll be back next week.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, you will. We'll see you next week, buddy. See you next week. All right, Super Duke for World Bigfoot Radio. Make sure you go hit subscribe on his channels. Coming up next, why do rookies have such a tough time getting into this field? We're going to get into it on the Dave 101. And we have the news from Shirky Poo. It's going to be a busy final half hour here on Spaced Out Radio. So stay tuned. We're going to round the corner and we're going to take this thing home. Great job, Super Duke.
Thanks, Dave. That Venara thing, I just dug that up recently, and from all places, I'm watching this archaeology channel on YouTube called Praveen Mohan. And this guy's like super genius, amazing. He's got like 2 million, 3 million subs. And all he does is go around to these ancient temples with all the intricate carvings and film them and go, look, you know, this shouldn't be here. What is this they're depicting? And all this kind of stuff, and then connects all the dots on it. And he just obliquely mentioned it. Oh, yeah, these monkey men that they're showing on here are called the Venara, and they're what you in the West would call Bigfoot. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? So I had to go do some research on that note. Holy crap, he's right. He ain't kidding. This guy does really good research. So yeah, that was really a mind blower. They're apparently the Sasquatch were allied with the gods to kill the giants. So for all the people that think that the giants and Bigfoot are the same, they are definitely not.
Very cool. Very cool. That's good research, buddy. Thank you for that.
Blew my mind too. That's why I was talking to Kason in chat yesterday. Like, hey, you're on Sri Lanka. You got any? Have you heard about this over there? Is there any Bigfoot sightings over there in Sri Lanka? They probably left again after they killed all the giants. They do have sightings in India. You know, going all the way up into the not only just in the Himalayas, but in the jungle-y parts of it that are left. There's weird reports of things like that, but I don't know that there's any active investigators over there looking into it. If there is, I wish they'd get a hold of me. I'd love to talk to them about it. I mean, it just makes sense. You know, the Himalayas, Yetis right there, right next to India.
I have a book from the Himalayas.
Oh, right on. Cool.
Yeah, Nelson Dellis, one of my favorite interviews ever, actually went to Nepal and got this for me as he was getting ready for his Everest climb.
Yeah, Dee in chat knows who I'm talking about, Praveen Mohan. She says go sub his channel. I agree. The guy's amazing. Brilliant.
We should get him on the show.
And yeah, if you can get him on the show, get him on. He's super smart. And he talks about all the ancient technology they're lying about that obviously they had. And, you know, the Vimanas, the flying saucers and stuff that they built. You know, Lord Rama had those too. He just didn't have enough to carry a whole army with him.
Well, let's throw that in the old bookings.
I saw an interview he did with David Hatcher Childress where they were talking about anomalous weird stuff in the Himalayas between the two of them, and that was a mind blower.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'd love to get him on my show. If you can get him on, let him know I'm on my show too.
We'll try. That we will do.
See what we can do.
Super Duke.
Sadly, I will not be able to attend your super cool party that I wish I could go to, but I will be way over in Nebraska doing a Bigfoot conference.
I know you will.
Where I will actually be hanging out with Ron Moorhead and Robin McRae.
Yeah, because they're more
other friends. Well, no, because they're paying me to be over there. That's why. They're paying me to go there. They're paying me to be there. And they're
all right. All right. All right.
It's all about the money, buddy. Pay.
Careful you say that in this field.
I never get any of it. So when any of it comes in, I'm just amazed. I'm like, wait, you guys want to actually pay me to go over there? You know, I hate traveling. I don't want to go anywhere. You're going to have to pay me a lot to make me want to go.
Well, good for you. You deserve it, buddy. You deserve it.
No, I'm afraid it's going to set up you know how you take a little flick of snow at the top of the mountain and it turns into this big avalanche-y thing?
Yes.
I already had somebody else earlier today going, I heard you're appearing at that conference over in Nebraska. There's one coming up in Utah. And I'm like, yeah, I just usually only go to conferences if they book me to be there. Oh, good. We got 5 spots open. I'll have them contact you. I'm like, oh, God, this is how it starts.
Hey, put my name in. I'll go with you.
Yeah, that would be cool, actually.
Yeah, put my name in.
I'll find out. They got 5 open spots. I'll throw your name in the hat. We got to get you
Where's
back on my show again soon. Utah.
Yes. Yeah, I'd totally do that.
Utah's got
Totally.
some really nasty cryptids. There are mountain giant reports from Utah.
Oh yeah.
Garbage
I'll try and hook us up with Brandon Fugel, see if we could sneak onto the ranch.
Q.
Yeah, let's do it. I've got 30 seconds, bud. Are you going to hang out or are you going to?
No, I actually got to continue working on the edit for Sunday show. It's none of those giant ones where I got to condense 2 hours where it's down to 1 hour. Or
all right,
hopefully
buddy.
Short.
Don't let the Wookiees smooch you.
I won't. Take care, everybody. Love ya. Big Sky, goodbye. And we'll see you over on my channel. I'll see you here on Dave's channel tomorrow.
All right, here we go, everyone. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. It is time, once again, where I give my opinion, my thoughts on the Dave 101.
It's time for Dave 101.
All right, I got a phone call earlier today from my good friend Lindsay, who I've known for probably, let's say 14, 15 years. And she never, ever asks me questions about the weird stuff. Never. Yet today was different. Today, she's like, I got to talk to you about something. I'm like, okay. So she brings up this question about the Orion lines. And we start talking about all the weird stuff. And I said, Lindsay, are you seriously wanting to get into the woo? Are you seriously wanting to do this? She goes, I am absolutely fascinated by it. And she goes, I was talking to my boyfriend and he is talking about it. And we are literally having this deep discussion. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I know the right guy to call. Well, apparently that was me. Whether or not it was any good or not was a different story. I crushed her heart. And here's why. There are a lot of people who are opening up to our field. They want to know. They're starting to expand their minds, expand their conversations, expand what they are learning on this earth. I think this is something that comes very naturally for a lot of people the older we get. Now, I'm not going to mention Lindsay's age because that would be rude, but I think it's people who hit that 30 to 35 range and up who all of a sudden start to believe that there could be something more out there that they do not understand. So for the majority of people like that, what they do is they go searching YouTube or Google. While this could be a very good thing, a helpful resource, what it doesn't do is it doesn't really help those who are just getting into this, because you could easily fall down the wrong rabbit hole and find information or people collecting information that is simply either A, false, B, unconfirmable, or C, such utter nonsense that it will take you down a rabbit hole that you will never, ever escape. This is where we come in. This is where we lay down that nice foundation to be a a jumping set of foam that you can just squish on into and relax in the woo of everything that we do. And it's important, people, because there are people out there who want to learn. Now, I'm not bragging about just us. There are other shows and YouTube channels and podcasts out there that are really trying to get the proper messages out. However, a lot of times what we end up seeing with a lot of new people is they tend to flock to people who are so far out there that they can't even see the light at the end of the tunnel. And this is dangerous. This is why society tends to take our subjects and put them all together with a very tight elastic band and squeeze us tight because they think we're one and the same. And we are not. Look, there are dangerous folks with dangerous messages out there. It doesn't matter whether it's UFOs, ghosts, paranormal, supernatural, conspiracy theory that literally runs so loose that people truly believe that everything is one giant con. Life is not a con. Life is special. But there are people out there who want to take you down some very dangerous roads. So this is my message to many of the newbies out there who are really, really trying to learn what is going on. Number one, do your homework before starting to follow someone. See what they're about. See what their reputation is. Google is a blessing in order to try and get information on whether or not somebody is credible. And in this field, it's very easy to tell. Number two, please be skeptical. Please use your inner thoughts. If it doesn't sound right, question it. Don't just follow someone's bare narrative, because some of them are trying to take you down a road that you do not want to go. Number three, take the time to investigate for yourself. Watch documentaries, watch YouTube channels, listen to podcasts, listen to the television shows, and see if they and their message resonates with you. The conspiracy theory that is out there right now is dangerous. It goes everywhere from radical reptilian politicians to devilish evil overlords to people who are absolutely demonic with power that are running this continent, this world, and everything in between it. Now, with Lindsay today, I had to tell her, use your skepticism, use your brain. You are very smart. Okay? Not all tap water is tainted. Not all medicine is bad for you. And not all conspiracies are true. That's why we don't talk a lot of conspiracy around here. We used to, way back when. But when you start to investigate and realize there isn't a lot of proof, you have to back off and you have to look at the bigger picture. It's an ebb and flow with information here. And what you cannot do is lose your rationality and lose your skepticism. There is wrong information way more than there is right information because, number one, we don't know what we are trying to solve. Whether it's the mystery of Bigfoot, whether it's the mystery of UFOs, or ghosts, life after death, astral travel, whatever it may be, we do not know. And the only way that we can know is by researching. This is why shows like what we do are very important. We never try to take you down a road and say, this is the only path you can go down. No. We bring the information. It is up to you to decide whether or not you believe it. And with so much false information out there, you have to be able to decipher for yourself what resonates with you. The new people out there just want to learn. They just want to know whether it's an alien experience or whether it is some disgusting conspiracy out there that they've chosen to believe. We need to be better as a community in getting that information out there. We need to be better as a community to shut down those who are posting false or misdirecting information on whatever topic it is. There's too many hoaxers in this field and not enough education. This is why many a times I have personally gone after people for calling themselves journalists when they have never worked a day in journalism in their life. We have fake scientists in this field all over, from UFOs to Bigfoot to the paranormal. We have people who are so title hungry, they will do and say and create anything they can in order to push their level of status upward. And if you're someone new coming into the community, you're not going to know that unless you do your own research. This is a giant puddle of mud with water on the outside, and we got to try and get to that fresh water because we are thirsty for information. We are thirsty for knowledge, and we are thirsty to know what the truth is. But the first acceptance that many new people coming into this field need to learn and understand is, what is proof and what is the truth? Because everybody's truth is different. My experiences and my truth to what I believe are much different than the guests that we bring on this show and even in our listening audience. I have people who do not believe me about my experiences, yet my job is to be very honest and very fair and call things down the middle. Most people choose not to do that because most people believe that their opinion is the way things should go. I'm not trying to put us on a pedestal, but I do believe that this is one of the biggest reasons why we're not getting the proper information out there. You don't have to believe Lou Elizondo verbatim. You don't have to believe Grant Cameron or Sean Cahill or Richard Dolan or Linda Moulton Howe verbatim. But at least take bits and pieces and then put them into your own personal puzzle. Because your puzzle that you are trying to solve is different than mine and different than everyone else's. The one thing we have learned about this entire phenomena, and this is what I told my friend Lindsay, is that everything is the phenomena. Everything is connected. Everything is about what we are doing and what we believe. Look, you've heard me say it before. It's very strange when we see people going out on an investigation, many people, and say there's 5 people out there, and 3 of them see the same thing and 2 of them don't see anything. Why? Because the phenomena was able and has the ability to choose who sees what. That's the mystery that we cannot solve. What is the phenomena? Where did the phenomena come from? Who created the phenomena? How does the phenomena affect each and every one of us, 7.8 billion people on this planet, differently? We don't know. And for those out there who say they do know, or they know that the Queen is a reptilian who's only her age at 94 because she feeds off the blood of virgin children, well, that's false information, because my grandmother at 94, I'm pretty sure, is not feeding off of young blood. And if she is, that's one hell of a ruse she has pulled on our family. Right? This is what we need to be concerned with. And look, there's going to be people out there who disagree with this message, and that is okay. That is all right. The main thing is you have to find yourself. You have to find your ability to figure out what is your truth. What is your ability to figure out the reality of what the phenomena is and what it's all about. You don't have to agree with it. Follow your own path, because that's the way we're going to get answers. That's the way you're going to be able to figure out what you want to know. Everybody's right. Everybody's wrong. But there are some that are more wrong than others. You just have to figure out which path you want to go down. And make sure it's a path that you trust and that feels good, and that you keep your skepticism, so that way you have the ability to know your own personal right from wrong. Let me know what you think once this hits our YouTube channel, and you can put a comment below. If you agree, disagree, that's quite okay. For the rest of us, let's hit the news. All right, let's get to Shirky Poo's news, shall we? Celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay has come to the rescue for Edward Peak Middle School over in the UK when kitchen manager Tina Clark was left to feed hundreds of students alone with two of her employees out sick. Ramsay, who generally is known for being less than polite on his hit television shows, literally was being interviewed on the BBC breakfast show last week when an exasperated Clark called in to ask for help. "I'm cooking here on my own. I'm working here in a school kitchen, and my chef has gone off sick. I've got another one off with COVID. Just wondered if Gordon would help me today. Give me a hand after this interview," the person, Ms. Clark, said jokingly. Although Ramsay himself said he wasn't available, he offered to dispatch one of his chefs to the school. "When I phoned in, I really did not expect for him to send a chef," Clark said. "When I finally got a message saying your chef will be with you in an hour, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to fess up to the head teacher, and I hope she doesn't give me a detention." Ramsay sent chef Rob Roy Cameron via cab from his Lucky Cat restaurant in London, and Clark immediately put him to work prepping cauliflower cheese for the students. "I'm sure he was terrified by having three menopausal women around him in the kitchen all day." The school was sure to thank both chefs through social media and record messages of one that was played for Ramsay on the BBC The One show the following day, with Clark telling Ramsay it was a huge buzz around the school, so thank you. Ramsay responded, "Anytime, Tina." And how cool is that? You know, he's so gruff and tough on TV. The guy has a heart. A colorful optical illusion has literally divided social media again. Users once more as people using more people as people debate which animal is actually being displayed in an unfinished drawing. The viral graphic features a blue, purple, and green fluorescent background with spaced out, very cool, spaced out pink strokes. Yeah, most people are split between seeing a donkey or a seal, while others report seeing other land and sea creatures. British author J.K. Rowling shared the illusion on Twitter and said, coincidentally, she sided with Team Donkey. Yeah, I could see the donkey in that. Rowling's tweet received more than 146,000 likes, thousands of comments and retweets, but not everyone agreed with her. Some suggested it looked like a kangaroo, fish, or mermaid. The same day, English actress Amanda Abington tweeted out that she thinks the drawing is a seal. Others have argued that they see a horse or a mule, which are both part of the equine family. And Twitter users who haven't picked a side prompted other users to share what they see, including one of the hosts of The View, Ana Navarro Cardenas. Tell the truth, does anyone see a fish or a mermaid? No, it's a seal or a donkey. I don't know. Whatever it is, you get to choose. Remember the blue dress, gold dress? It's pretty much the same thing. Pretty much. Oh, it's a sad day on the highways of Kentucky today. Sad, sad day. A stretch of Kentucky's highway was closed when an overturned truck spilled its load of beer bottles into the roadway. Yeah, Kentucky State Police said the single vehicle crash occurred around 8 a.m. in the northbound lanes of Interstate 65 near Louisville. The truck driver, thankfully, was not hurt. However, the dastardly, painful photos of Bud Light strewn everywhere. Yeah. All that good beer just right into a ditch. It didn't know it hit it. And it's gone. There's like nothing left. Nothing to survive. The section of the highway was closed for several hours in the morning for cleanup work, and the road was reported open later that afternoon. And finally tonight, here's a strange one. Imagine hating your family so much that you just walk away and never come back. You know what? I've been mad at my family before, but I don't think I could ever hate them. But instead of going to court for a divorce, this person decided to escape. All right. Airports have long been seen as a gateway for escape to get away from the day-to-day life and explore the world beyond. Well, one lad took the term escape a little too far after venturing to Beijing Capital International Airport 14 years ago. He never returned. Wei Jinyao, a Chinese man now in his 60s, has lived at the airport's Terminal 2 since 2008. His reason for never leaving? He wants to smoke and drink without his family bothering him. We've all been there, families bothering you to no end, craving a holiday away for a bit of freedom. But most of us come home eventually. Well, not for Wei. He has decided that he's never going to be ready for that holiday to end. He said, I can't go back home because I have no freedom there. My family told me if I wanted to stay, I had to quit smoking and drinking. If I couldn't do that, I had to give them all my monthly government allowance of 100 yuan or $200 in American money. But how would I afford my cigarettes and alcohol? Wei has also decided to give up looking for work after he was laid off in his 40s and struggled to keep a new job because of being too old. Surprisingly, he doesn't have the longest tenure living at an airport either. That belongs to Turkish man Bayram Tepli, who moved to Ataturk Airport in 91 for similar reasons of Wei's, lived there for 27 years before the airport closed in 2019. He now lives at Sabiha Gökçen Airport. Airports are so uncomfortable. 14 years without a proper bed. Holy cow. I slept for 12 hours in San Francisco last weekend. Most painful sleep I've ever had. Nonetheless, thank you to Shirky Poo for the news, to Super Duke for the Crypted Reports, Swamp Dweller for the great stories tonight, and of course our guest Varla Ventura from varlaventura.net. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother Is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight on YouTube, LGAB, Twitch, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio.
I know you're out there somewhere.
Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
We're watching.
we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home.
I know you're out there somewhere watching me.
Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. That was a good show. Very good show. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Apparently I'm evil and I'm a disinfo agent because, you know, people should have their own thoughts, but be careful with their thoughts. Cool. Very cool. Look at that. Joe Monk timing somebody out. Look at that. David's a shill. Confirmed. Hold on. What else did he put on there? That's not false info, you fuck. Bad language. Bad language. Kurt Valdez, how you doing? Just in your mouth. How are you, buddy? Long time, no time. What else do we have? You know, the funny part about it is, if they would have kept it clean, they wouldn't have been wrenched. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying. Some people. You can't win them all. You can't please them all. Keeping this night going for you. We'll keep it going for another half an hour or so, Kurt Valdez. Because we care. Watching. Hold on. Let's download this show. There we go. We're downloading. It's official. It's official. We're downloading. Yeah, that fast downloads. Fast downloads right now. Very fast. All right. Give me 2 seconds here, people. I got to go monetize the podcast. There we go. Officially monetized, just like that. Just like that. Just like that. John Grassi, how are you, man? What's happening in Namibia right now? They actually have a new camera angle. We've got a new camera angle out, but there's no animals around. Oh, there's something way back there. We'll have a little look here. Hold on. Let's move this over here. We'll expand that. Here. Let's have a little peeky poo here, shall we? There we go. Sorry. There is something over here kind of lurking around. That looks like a wildebeest to me. It really does. And I must need a third screen. Hold on. Where is it? See, there's my edit screen. I'll bring this over here. Hey, sorry. I gotta do this first. Yeah, I gotta do this first. I'll bring that back. I promise you. I'll bring that back. I got to do the editing thing first. What am I doing here? Close that. And then we can close that one. And we can close that one. And we can go there. And we can go here. There we go. What am I doing? I need the commercials. If I just so you know, if I am a disinformation agent, I'd really like the paycheck from that government agency that does that. I really want the paycheck. Because Lord knows that I make sweet nothing off of this. All right. Diesel. How are you? Good to see you. Hope you had a lovely evening. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Moon Freedom, I want to curl up on the floor next to Dave. That's what, hey, look here. You and Doug could have a little cuddle there. Right, Doug? Good old Doug Stevenson. See? You and Doug could have a little cuddle up there. Oh, Evan, I enjoy when shit like that happens, buddy. I enjoy it. It's okay to ruffle feathers every now and again. All right, ask me anything. Ask me anything. You notice the mystery farter didn't show up tonight? Yeah. Sovereign farts, nowhere to be seen tonight. Nowhere to be seen. Sovereign farts. Hi, gorgeous Rose Demaray. Right around there. Nope, right there. There it is. That's the one I got to edit the titties out on. All right, 9:43. So we come back at 35, 37, 39, 41, 43. Should be right around here.
Usually they're holding like a comb and sometimes a mirror. And this was to let people know that, that it kind of like remind them of the sins of vanity and lust, because they're all very booby, right? It's like big mermaid boobs. So you have like this bifurcated tail or a big, tail, mermaid tail. Why else would you have, I'm sorry, can I just why else would you just show tits in a church, right? I'm sorry, can I just why else would you just show tits in a church?
Can't use that. Sorry, Varla.
Show tits in a church, right? That's what is happening.
And then when you do that's a 43.
I'm just gonna put it out there. Because it's unusual, right? Even in the 1600s, or in particular in the 1600s, you've got this depiction, and you've got, it's a beautiful depiction of this supernatural creature. We're getting it, doing it. And then not even no clamshells, no covering, just right. Everything is out there. Everything God gave you, right? Just hanging out there. And beautiful hair, and the usually in all these other ones, according to this article, all these other ones, there's the beautiful hair, and then the symbols of sin and lechery and vanity and all these bad things. And so you are sitting in church, piously crossing your legs, right, and trying to concentrate and do no harm, and have no lechery or whatever. And so, but this one, the mermaid's totally different. And the mermaid's got it doesn't have these symbols. It's the mermaid's holding bells, but it's got a bifurcated tail. And if I need to paint a picture for those of you who are listening, the bifurcated tail is basically, the legs are spread, and the mermaid is holding the bells, but the bells are kind of she's kind of holding her own ankles, really. So there's this is a pretty, to me, it's, almost more out there than holding the symbols of the mirror and the comb or whatever. So she's holding bells, which is also very unusual. So this is kind of a remarkable find. Like, you know, all jokes aside, this is like really quite striking that this has been found in Ireland. Now, there's examples of mermaids like this in churches in France, and you know, it's from the Renaissance era. There's examples of this in churches in France, Italy, but this is the first one found in Ireland, so it's pretty remarkable. And yeah, so they find it. It's basically very faded, and someone just happens to notice as they're kind of like restoring this part of the church. There's some archaeologists come in and they sort of restore it. Someone does this beautiful drawing of it, and they find out all of this stuff, and then that leads to this article in the magazine. Some wonderful author has actually written a whole book all about these mermaids, and so I'm actually planning on going to Ireland in the summer this year for a couple of weeks. And I had no idea that there's at least a dozen of them all around Ireland in churches. So I'm thinking like mermaid tour of Ireland, right? Like, why not just go? I mean, they're marked. They're very clear. And this one's on display. I think they took it out of the church and they put it in like the local museum. So that's pretty cool. I learned a bunch of stuff about, they don't even really know why the bells are kind of like, they symbolize something else, which it said what they symbolize, but I forgot because I got really distracted by the whole, I mean, you know, tits in church and tits in church and like just the whole thing. Like my mind just went this like.
There we go. Now we're good. And have tits on the radio. Hi, Nell McKay. How are you? Good to see you. No, Varla's not on OnlyFans. No, she's not. Hi, guys. What's happening? It's a lot of tits out there. A lot of tits. You heard it from Nell. It's a lot of tits, man. Okay, where's our exit point? Should be right here. I've seen people that I know. Another half an hour on Spaced Out. Right there. Cool. That was nice and quick. Save as also R3. Terry Hall, how you doing? Gong Show, what's happening, man? Solaire, good to see you. Taking questions. If you guys have any questions, just put them in the chat room. I'll answer questions while I'm editing. Ask me anything. Am I drunk? No. I got to work in the morning. Well, the next couple of days. By the way, we do have, if you are signed up for Canada's Great Unknown, we put up another story for you up there today, which is fresh and new. So make sure you go hit subscribe there. I'll grab the link for you. Go. We're 5 away from 500 right now. 5 away. Copy. Where are you guys? Here's Canada's Great Unknown. Sorry about the delay. Merle has been on staycation. I think that's the start right there. No, it's not the start. Where's the start of this? There's the end. Cut that. Minus 20 some minutes. We're on right there. That looks like it. That's it. If you want to go check that out, that would be cool. Merle! Merle! Merle. Merle. You know, today I had totally planned on catching up on sleep. Didn't work. Totally did not work. Totally did not work. Nope. Tried. I literally dozed off. I had to get my son from his bus stop, which is just down at the end of my street. It's like half a block away. And I'm like, oh, I can feel myself falling off, nodding off like 2 o'clock. And I'm like, set an alarm, dude. You're going to miss your kid. No, I'm good. So I started playing a video on YouTube. My hat just exploded. And next thing I know, my kid's walking through the front door. Dad, you were supposed to get me from the bus stop. I guess I fell asleep, buddy. I think you fell asleep, Daddy. Yep. Totally did. Are you mad? No. I know my way home. Well, that's good. That's good. Thank God I had the front door unlocked for him. That would have been kind of a real strange occurrence if I hadn't. What's my best ghost or alien encounter? Which one do you want? Alien encounter would be the alien in the forest with Samantha Mowat. And ghost encounter. There's been a few. Was attacked by a ghost at the museum here. Got the ghost in my yard. His name is Rick. He's a cool dude. How do I buy more oil to pour on my head? Go to mightymoosebeard.com. mightymoosebeard.com. More oil, please. All right, there we go. That's all done. Give me 2 seconds here. Transfer this over. Boom, 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 boom. What's going on in Namibia? Nothing. We'll see what's happening on the other channels here. Let's go to the Tembe. See if the elephants are out at the Tembe. Nope. Oliphants River, nothing. It's looking like it's starting to flood a little bit. Probably bringing the hippos in. Oh, here we go. Let's go to Tau. There we are. Look at that. We got a wildebeest over here. Bunch of zebras having fun here. More wildebeest here. That looks kind of cool. Dave, after your regression, do you really want to open up your memories if you have been in the Creating Hybrids program? Don't know. Haven't figured that out yet. Don't know. I'm still not sold on the whole regression therapy thing as being accurate. Get rid of tweet deck. Don't need that. Why? Because there's no proof that it happened, Nikki. And I think we have to keep a skeptical mind on things at times. Our mind can play tricks on us. I like zebras. Well, that's cool. Those birds in the background. That's very cool. Kind of cool to see like some crocodiles in here. Oh, damn it, I gotta change that. All right. DM you, Justin? Why? Why? I just don't DM strangers. You're a stranger. What are those rocks in the background there? Right there. Right in here. Those are interesting. Hold on, that's an animal up there. That thing just moved. Are those elephants up here? Those might be elephants up there. I think we got elephants up there. Let's zoom you guys in. I think, yeah, those are elephants. That's an elephant trunk right there. Just saw the ears flop. That's a good angle right there. Look at all that zebra ass right there. Acreon, what's going on? See, the elephants are moving. Those are elephants up there. No, don't leave the elephants. Don't leave the elephants. Oh, there's a big crane right there. That elephant's over there. Come on down. That'd be like really cool if they came on down. Okay, 1 second here. I just got to quickly do something here. Got to go here, here. I just move these files. There we go. Go back here. And go back here. It's very cool. I wouldn't mind seeing them elephants come down. Wildebeest, zebras, elephants. That'd be a good day. Very good day. We got to do this. This is what we need to do. Get these started. Come on over, elephants. There's one elephant right there, I believe. We're trying to keep the elephants in sight. See, I'd like to see them zoom into where those elephants are. You can see them right there. See, look at these big guys. There's one right there. There's another one. It's awesome. Once again, if you haven't signed up and hit subscribe on my other YouTube channel, Canada's Great Unknown, I'm putting the link in the chat room right now. Look at that. Those are elephants, are they not? I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Elephants have moved on there. Wildebeest chasing after. What the hell is the wildebeest doing? Justin S., thank you so much. I'd like to hit 500 tonight. We're at 496. There's got to be, out of the 108 people watching right now, there's got to be like 4 people out there that can push us to 500. Really, Gordium? That's interesting. This person's a terrible camera person. Oh, they're looking for the elephants. They already passed. Oh, there's a will. Whoa! The hell was that? Wildebeest fight. These wildebeests. What the hell is going on between Lauren and John over there? Hey, Justin, you're doing a really bad job at trolling right now, dude. Not in the chat room, man. Really cool. Be nice to see some lions come in here and try and take down one of these wildebeests. That'd be cool. Why wildebeest everywhere? Are you going to come up with some April Fool pranks today? Corruption, I am terrible with April Fool pranks. Absolutely terrible. What the hell is that thing? A cow thing right there. The hell is that? Oh! Very cool. The hell are those? Look at that guy. Wow, nice view. Show us some magnets. I can show you the magnets. One sec here. I'll grab them. Just let me quickly do this here. I'll put these over here. I don't want to show off everything for Vegas, but I'll show off the magnets. Let's upload these. What's going on there, Doug Stevenson? Huh? What's going on? Huh? You almost done work? We got a few more minutes in here, brother. I'll grab them for you. Hold on. I'm upstairs. Do not go over there. All right. Hey, Super Lou. What's happening, man? All right. Right there. Right there. Right there. Right there. And come on. Here you go, buddy. One sec. So these are the magnets. There is the Sasquatch one. And there is the alien one. So these are all made out of trees from our area. Magnets put on. And people coming to Vegas get our magnets. It's very cool. Very cool. One of the ladies here who owns a resort, she makes them. So she's a paranormal. Of course, she's a paranormal investigator too, which is really cool. So she's into all of this, and yeah, that's what we're giving away down in Vegas as part of our swag for our listeners, which is always good. All right, Justin, your mouth, you got to go away for a little bit. You've pissed me off now. All right. I'm going to put you in a timeout here, Justin, because you're being absolutely fucking rude. Okay, the next time, you got to have a suspension. Sorry. You got a 5-minute major right now. Next time, it's going to be a suspension. Where'd all my wrenches go? Oh, it's just Dogface Boy in there. That's okay. We'll take care of that. Tomorrow night on the show, we have our good friend R. Keith Andrews back with the ET Connection. And we're going to have a special guest with Nicole Sackich joining us as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow. So make sure you check it on out with us. And hang on out. That's my Merle shirt, Sandra. That's my Merle shirt. You can get this and other swag at our store, spacedoutradio.com. You know what? I am the first one to buy. If you haven't seen it yet, we'll go there. Hold on. We'll go there. If you haven't seen it yet, even Super Lou from UCR doesn't have one of these. Well, look at the panties there. How good would Super Lou look in a pair of Dave Scott boxers? Lou, your ass would look fantastic in those. Just saying. Here's the sneak peek if you want our Vegas stuff. Right there. Look at that logo. Look at that logo on that hoodie. How good does that look? Uh-huh. Very nice. I like that. But if you go to our store here, there's the Merle t-shirts right there. But if you go down to, oh, there's the Paranormal. Where is it here? Right here. This is the one you need. Right here. Team Lazar. Team Lazar. It's all you need. Those glasses say it all for Bob Lazar. Right? Sad Papa, what's happening on Twitch? Swift Shot, how are you on Twitch? No, that's Team Lazar, Bob Lazar. Then on the back page, you got the sport model right there with our website back page, back of the shirt. I got one of these coming for me. Yeah, Super Lou, you would look good in one of those too. You would. You totally would. Just saying. SpacedOutRadio.com. And that's always cool. And what else we got here? Big thank you to Simon with the hat trick of super chats tonight. Donnie with a pair. Todd and Science Bob as well. Really appreciate that. And don't forget, 3 weeks from now, we are in Las Vegas, Nevada for SOR's fan party. Come hang out at the Golden Nugget. It's going to be fun. First 50 people got their swag bags that they can pick up there. We're going to do a live show there. And Lou Jimenez is going to do the zip line naked, yelling his love for Spaced Out Radio. It's true. He told me. The only thing he'll have on are his Dave Scott You've Got Aliens boxer shorts. I actually own a pair. They're very comfortable. I do. And we go from there. But I want to say a big thank you to all of you for tuning us in tonight. Thank you to all the veterans out there. We'll see you tomorrow night. R. Keith Andrews, Nicole Sakic on the ET Connection. See you tomorrow.